Been there before, yeah.
Right.
Sure, go ahead.
Good afternoon.
Yeah.
So, so
I'm talking about both south and north because the language is the same. It said it was reduced by 15,000, and then it gives a number on the south, 70,000, then on the north, down to 40,000. So
yes, I could absolutely explain that for you. So what we originally had for those was a smaller number for both. So originally we had I'll just we'll go back to this. I believe it was $15,000 for both is what we had in the last draft.
For the
you-
historic.
For the historic
grant.
preservation grant. We took the funds from both of those and moved it into the code compliance grant. Same with the funds from the building improvement grant. We changed it a little bit differently this year, as you may remember, where we awarded the applicants ahead of the fiscal year, so we could budget based off that. So initially, we put a larger number in there. Once we got those final numbers at the last CRA meetings, we used what was left over to go into the code compliance grant. So nothing was removed from the code compliance because it originally started at the 15. So it increased to, in the South Historic, it increased to $70,000. And in the North Historic District, it increased to 40, which was the 15 from the Historic Preservation Grant and the Building Improvement Grant.
The North Tiff district is quite a bit smaller than the South Tiff, which is why they always have additional funding.
yeah, I understand that. I just wanted to make sure funding still was available for people who actually needed the home repair, versus they got to have a code compliant reason to do it. I mean, some people didn't have a financial need.
So that program did not exist before. So this is a new program that I'm creating. You'll see in your packet that I have a program description of what we're looking to do with that. So I know we'll get into that a little bit later in the meeting because it is a new program. It's something that I'm planning to model after different places. It's at the very end of your packet. We'll talk about it at the end, but it's just a project description. If the funding is approved today or in the near future with that, at the next CRA meeting on September 25th, I will bring you the full application. We can change it however you'd like. And if you have any feedback today, I will incorporate that into that grant.
I understand, but I would appreciate if you would have just for future reference. Exactly. And therefore, you're asking us to approve something first that you haven't even explained to us what we're gonna be getting. You're gonna do
Understand.
it.
No problem.
Commissioner Palatka, you had a question?
Yes, I do. And forgive me if I'm playing catch up here. And I'm along with Commissioner Jones. It says historic preservation grant reduced by 15,000. From what?
From 15, so it's zeroed out.
Yes, ma'am.
Same, I just want to say same. I have the same question. So we need this clearly explained.
You need, it needs to be simple math,
Right.
I'm
minus
not following.
equals,
No
that kind of
problem.
thing.
That's all in your packet. If you go to the next page, you'll see
why not
the
put it here?
budget line.
Right.
Why not put it right here?
I apologize for that. This was something we did put together yesterday, so I do apologize. And in the future, I can absolutely do
Okay.
that. And the reason why I did put we're planning for next year, as most CRAs do, as when I've done my research, is they budget for it, because you can't do something unless it's already budgeted for, is how CRAs are asked to be ran. So what I'm doing now is I have the project description in here, so you know what you would be voting on. Just like the building improvement grant, I will bring that application forward to you all. We can make any changes you would like. Once approval is received, then I will start doing that grant. But I'm modeling what is done at other CRAs, and that's the process they go through. They budget, they create the program. Once the budgeting is approved, a program can be made to your liking. I will not be doing any programs until there's approval received from you all on the actual application of the program.
Okay, you say it's over inside the meat and
Yes, it
potatoes
does
of this
show-
thing. So where's that at?
Yes, sir. Give me one moment.
It was the 15,000 allocated was in our original packet for the CRA budget for the historic preservation grant. It did say 15. So
Yes.
I just did the math and I saw that the 15 was moved, then it went to 0, and that's how I kind of knew.
Nope.
Yeah. That's all. I mean, and that's just.
My first budget, you'll get it.
I know, no, I understand. I'm just
Got a
saying
number?
that's the only reason why I knew.
So what was your number? I'm sorry, you're requesting the number from.
You said it's over inside the packet. Where is it? Page 2?
So it'll be
Well,
on
when
your,
that- On this additional.
yes, on this packet you have.
Right under that memo, under that cover. That's the most updated, it's there. So you've got to find the correct district, north and south, and it's in the north and south check.
As Ms. Pierre stated, it is on.
I just want some clarification. when the question is asked, can we just have one person answering? Because I'm all over the place. So Kristen, can you walk us through what we need to know to answer the two questions? Because I have the same questions as well. And it's
Yes.
not clear to me either.
No problem.
Thank
Would, can the question be asked one more time just so I can make sure I answer it correctly?
You okay with that?
Commissioner Palatka. We want you to ask a question again.
I'm sorry,
What's the
I was
question?
helping him. You said it's over on page 2, is that correct?
It will be on. Yes, please.
Page 2, we have the downtown district, and if you look for the account number 030315806-63XX, that's the first historic preservation grant, and it's 0 on the far right column labeled 2025-2026. So
Okay.
that's for the South Historic District, and that's where it shows that that grant is reduced to 0.
All right,
And
gotcha.
for the north, if you go to page 4 and look for 030-325806-63XX, Historic Preservation Grant. And if you go to the last column that's labeled 2025-26, the amount there is 0.
Yes, ma'am, I see it now. Thank you.
That
Okay.
leads us to another question.
Okay.
I think you said they had 30,000 up under that one for code compliance grant. So those numbers are not correct.
No, the numbers are correct.
Same
The
page,
numbers-
page 4.
Page 4,
Because
code compliance is 30,000.
It's
So that's so
30,000.
the memo should just be adjusted. That should be 30,000. Or the north, that's for the north.
Memo should be 30 versus the,
That's for the
budget?
north. The budget is correct.
okay.
So
Right, the budget is correct, it's 30,000.
it's 30, and that's for the North Historic District, and that's code compliance grant.
you guys say you just finished this up yesterday, today?
I'm getting involved, man.
Okay. You have any
So,
additional
may-
questions?
Can I
I-
try to help?
I know, well, we all have questions. I'm saying on this particular, you want to keep going.
I think Miss Davis has. one.
I know Commissioner Davis has a question. Go ahead.
I'm gonna assume that when we see the 63XX, these are items you're asking us to approve in the budget to what the CRA director was mentioning. And once this is approved, then we will later discuss
The program, the
programs
requirements for the
associated with
applicant.
it. Is that a true statement? Is that why?
Let me help.
Okay.
Mayor,
Yes,
can I please? So what happened earlier last week, I believe, the CRA coordinator and myself worked together to make sure that I sent out to, you all received an email from me about the 3 new programs that were being presented. So I'm hoping everyone did get that. And that, what it included was the 3 that we're looking at. It was the historic preservation, it was code compliance, and just trying to let you know how the programs were working. Subsequently, CRA coordinator realized per her studies that we really weren't getting a lot of activity in that historic preservation, and therefore wanted to request that instead of us approving what you had received earlier, that we instead change the amounts to what we know would probably be more helpful. So if we were to take the original budget that's in here and look at this revision, it might be easier to understand, and I don't mind us going through it. And so if we were to look at that downtown budget, just start over so we can all understand. Originally. Okay. So in your book, it says page 3 of 88, that was the original. And so therefore, historic preservation it's still the 10. Special event is still 0. And code compliance is 0. So special events is 15. So no changes there other than what we explained earlier, which is the 150,000 for Larimar. That was the change. Expanded maintenance, which is now up to the 20,000. And then we added more landscaping. And so that was increased up to, the 25. So that was it for the changes for downtown. Then when we go to South Historic, and just go to the next page, which in your book, the original book is 488. This handout is saying, we would like you to consider for special events, nothing, make it 0 because we weren't doing any special events, correct? We're not doing any there. Historic preservation, we weren't having any of that happening. So what we were calling originally home repair, it was changed to code compliance. However, the suggestion that Commissioner Jones is making, saying, hey, why don't we have 2 lines, one for home repair and one for code compliance? That would be a very good suggestion.
Right.
Because the point that you're making is that everyone that need home repair is not necessarily in code compliance, violation. So we will take that point. The other item was that when we were here before, the CRA coordinator realized that we were not having a lot of building improvement grant activity. So if you look at the original one on page 4 of 68, it says 100,000. And the new one is only 60,000. Okay? So that 40,000 is just reallocation plus I'll stop.
Hey, no, that's right.
Yeah, everything, it balances. It's just,
That's not what I'm referring to. In the center of my page, it says 3, and on the far right corner, it says 468.
468.
Okay, what about the center number here? We're not using that one? That's not, no, it's not.
I was just trying to help, but yeah, you can use both if you like number 3, that's correct.
Okay,
Okay, but in the handout, it's page 3. Same page, page
Okay.
3. Just giving you the revised number. So all we were trying to do is make this our last ditch effort of giving you better numbers, taking into consideration more last minute information. Even, I don't know before if we spoke about the Tillman House, how we've now, increased that to the 300,000, just going over that. And then finally, that last page, page 4, that's the North Historic. Glasses are no good. But anyway, historic preservation originally had 15. You look at your revised one, it's 0. Home repair had 15 and now it's 30. So all we did was just took the 15 from above and added it to it. But now with the guidance or the suggestion made by Commissioner Jones, I agree that we should have 2 lines, one for home repair and one for code compliance, if that's what you would like.
Do you have any additional questions at the moment? I have a couple, and, I guess we have to go through the process of putting it out to bid. 150,000 does not sound like enough funding for the Larimer. I could be wrong. There's some major work that needs to be done, and it needs to be done in a historically accurate fashion. It's on the National Register. It's a significant building. It's a Clutho design building, and it's significant to the city. So I just saying that. Question.
That is, we had a foundation expert come out and gave us a whole quote of everything. When
I
we
saw
go
that.
to do the project, we will put it out to bid. So that was just the initial to find out the area about what it would cost us. There's quite a bit of work, you're right. And that only includes the repair of the roof, not a re-roof. So we probably have to look into that, but I think we can encompass all that once we put it out to bid.
Okay, I was just concerning again, it's a flat roof, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, having had one of those done and repairing it first and finding out, no, then I had to replace the whole thing was a whole different ball. Repairing doesn't usually work in that case.
Well,
But
currently
we'll
we have
see.
the roofer doing a full inspection of the roof. Unfortunately, we couldn't get that back by today. He's also doing the inspection of the building right next door as well. So waiting for that as well. So we are getting an expert to look at that.
Okay,
It's a final
okay.
call. Yes, ma'am.
Regarding Larimar, you got a quote, the list I saw did not appear all inclusive. I went in the Larimar as well, and I took a few pictures just myself, and I didn't see them on the list. So my question is, who went in to determine what repairs were needed?
It was a combination of what we can do in-house. You would not have seen those pictures in the quote, or the work that, the city will do in-house through Public Works. And it's done by a foundation and waterproofing expert, and for the outside building, that was all the pictures that you mostly seen involved in that quote.
Yeah, we saw the roof, the outside, but there are some other, I thought, significant repairs that need to be made as well. So are you saying for the other significant repairs that need to be made, because they can't be done in-house, they're gonna be like in a separate grouping, I suppose?
Well, we have to work outside in. So we have to get the building waterproof and safe off first. We can do all the, physical repairs to like the, all the plaster and the pipes, we get that all covered and redone, sanded down. We can do all that in-house relatively cheap, at a very, very low cost. So first step is to get it waterproof to the building. And that goes right down to the basement. They have to get it down the building, waterproof down about 10 feet. Because it's just seeping through the wall. So the major concern, the major part of it is all that outside work.
Okay, so I guess my question is then, how does that impact what we're trying to vote on for the budget? Or trying to determine for the budget, if we need more? I'm just trying to understand.
That's why I asked the question to
Correct.
begin with.
I don't understand why we would only look to budget for this portion when there's a bigger fix.
Right. I can't really answer that other than the fact that we can repair all the remaining stuff in-house, that we have the building maintenance budget that would handle that average building maintenance budget. I don't think we would surpass that amount in the course of the year. It's the only answer I actually have.
And
wasn't for you.
I can actually help. Okay, thank you. All right, but in reality, we didn't have any number at all in the original. And we simply had a conversation about that particular building. And I asked, do we have anything, any work, any analysis that had been done? And I believe this was done like October last year. And so you are correct that most likely it will be more, but I did want to put something in there because there was not a number in there for the repairs originally. So even though the amount that we received was 139,000, so I did increase it to 150. We do have room for movement, and there is a line in each of the districts, and it's called transfer to Better Street. So that is, we put more than we actually need in that line, but so in case we have to make movement. We will have to wait, I think, until we get a better analysis.
And I guess this is a general statement. You know, one of the concerns I have about our city is we do what looks to me and what I call patchwork. And when there are items that need to be fixed, and this has gone on for a long time, and I get that this was originally not in, and we're trying to at least put some money in to get started and at least to waterproof the building. I'd just like for us to consider, and especially at this time, the work that we need to do so that we can accurately allocate dollars in the budget or where it needs to be. Because we may need to make some different decisions on some things that we don't have to have right now for things that we need. So
Thank you. And again, I've been saying that since I was elected, the buildings that the city owns have been neglected for decades. And we really have to invest in those. Mr. Campbell?
So you both summed up what it is that I wanted to say with regards to not only the Larimer, we had this conversation with regards to the Tillman House. And I know at one point we had given direction to staff to actually bring us a comprehensive overview of what the facilities that we do own, what the necessary work would be done to have them repaired. And I believe that originally fell up under Mr. Cutright when we were doing a assessment of our buildings. And that information has not yet been provided. And it appears, just like Commissioner Davis stated, that we do a lot of work, but it's not really getting us anywhere. Allowing someone to come in and really give us a comprehensive look at what these buildings would cost to get them to a point of operation without the patchwork that we have a tendency of doing. And that was one of the reasons why I originally asked when we were starting the budget season, is to tell us what it is that we need versus giving us an abbreviated version of what it is, and allow us as the decision makers to make the determination if it is something that we want to move forth with. Because a lot of times we get this information, even with regards to the email, there is no follow-up to determine conversations or letting us know the conversations that city staff is having. We get an email, but it really doesn't dive into what possible questions we could have leading up to these meetings, which would allow these meetings to be a little bit more effective when we sit down and make these determinations, or have to make determinations. Because as of now, we're sitting here and we're being piecemealed information, and it's not to as legislators or policymakers, it doesn't make us feel good that we're being put in positions to make decisions wherein later on we may have to make some other decisions where we could have made the decisions up front. So that's why it puts a lot of burden on staff versus giving us a complete packet of what it is that we've been asking for. And even to Mr. Joe's point, if we are able to do some of the in-house work, those need to be reflected in reports as well, because again, even though they are done in-house, they are done at a more cost-saving mechanism, it's still a cost. So those things need to be provided to us when we are making those decisions as well. But overall, I agree with Mayor wholeheartedly that that is not enough to really put into that building to get it to where it needs to be. And I think we're at the point to where if we decide or need to address and putting some more funding in there, that would be there to prevent staff from having to come before us. Because I don't like to make it appear as if we are not, one, supportive of staff, and two, that anytime they bring something to us and it's not the necessary way that we desire it, it appears as if we are downing or not being a team player. And I don't like that feeling sitting on the dais. So hopefully from this point forward, we utilize this as a learning opportunity so that we won't be back in these positions again, and we won't have to have these conversations to this extent. Just bring us holistic information so that we can make sound decisions and feel comfortable when we make those decisions.
Thank you. I will.
I have another question because I had a few items and some of them have been addressed. And I just want clarification where each TIF district transfers reimbursement, general, administrative. That's a good chunk of money. I'm looking at the downtown right now. It's 96,000 change. I kind of understood that when we didn't have a CRA director, but I'm not sure what can somebody break that down for me, explain where that money goes?
So this is based upon the cost of primarily departments and general fund that supports the CRA. That's how that's calculated, that administrative expense. I don't have it sitting in front of me.
Okay, because
but
we're
I'm just
now
giving you-
funding code, police, and a CRA director out of the tip, and then this be above and beyond that. And so, again, I'd like to see an itemized how it's used.
I can give that to
Okay,
you.
thank you.
And to that point, if there's an opportunity to reduce it, because
Please,
you just said something, and when you said it, I saw something, perhaps we can look at reducing a portion of the general administrative expense when we take the proportionate share of this new thing that we're doing this year, which is the police service and code enforcement.
okay.
So that is new, and that could impact the prior year's methodologies that has been used. So I'll
Okay.
look at that.
And I see a professional services line item. Is that for some
Where?
contracting out to some company? Okay, just want
Yeah.
clarification on that. Thank you.
What is the name again, please?
Here, and it's been easy, so if you go down in light items, the line item, this is the newest packet we got, page 2, downtown. The 5th line item down says professional services, and there's 40,000. I just wanted to have an idea of exactly what that was used for.
Yeah.
Clarification, that's all.
Right, that's the professional services.
Yes. I just want a
Are
clarification.
they a part of today? Are they gonna be in?
Yes, Madam Mayor, you are correct. That's to contract with different companies. We do have someone on today that I would like you all to consider. That'll be one of the next items we go into. It's we're proposing downtown strategies. That is a part of your packet. There is a memo attached and a staff report, and they'll talk a little bit about the proposal for a partnership after our next item.
Okay, thank you. And we don't have a line item specifically for funding for marketing and promotion of the downtown district. I mean, I fully believe each business is responsible for marketing themselves, but overall downtown, we've not done a great job of downtown and the city as a whole, promoting and marketing the city. We're just specifically on the CRA now, but go ahead.
That's a part of
Vote 'em.
Okay.
Yes, so that would be a part of what downtown strategies would be able to
Okay.
assist us with. And we do have a line on here for economic development, and I believe that could fall in there. We budgeted $10,000 for that, and that's where I believe that could fall into.
Okay, because
In
again, that's
addition-
not a lot of money for that, but we'll see how it goes.
And again, that's a new item, has not previously been built or into the budgeting system. And that retail strategies, which you'll see shortly, they do marketing as well with us.
They would assist us in those processes, but we'd still be responsible for paying for those things, the actual materials.
Okay, does anybody else have any additional budget questions? Go ahead, Commissioner Davis.
I'd like to understand, we've had several requests and presentations and considerations for the gas lamps. Where would that fall into this budget for consideration?
So if I may also include one more thing, at the last CRA meeting, I mentioned that the Historic Preservation Board denied the request for you all to consider solar. So that is not on the table at this time, since next week we'll meet the deadline to do the word is appeal, excuse me. And at the last CRA meeting, there was no interest, so I did not move forward with that process. But that would fall under site amenities
Right,
In the south tier.
in the South Historic District.
and we did include that amount as well. Anticipated like 7,000.
Any other questions about the budget?
Executive.
I believe that may be a typo. Ms. Cardy said she believes she put in more for the site amenities. It shouldn't be
Yeah.
1,000, it should be, I think, 10,000.
Yeah, it's 1,000.
Maybe a typo, but we did anticipate that. And I will be bringing that to the board in September as well. Yes, Ms. Cardy, can you speak to that?
Mhm.
Okay,
Oh, what's the question?
about the signage as well, it's 1,000. I'm not sure if that is accurate.
And which district?
South Historic, so page 3. It's gonna be right above the site amenities.
Yeah. So what amount is needed there, please?
I think $3,000 would be fair,
Okay.
in my opinion, so we
But
could
this is our
possibly-
final, this is a workshop.
Yeah.
A
Yeah,
workshop
yeah.
means that we listen to what you say.
That's why we want to
Please.
clarify things.
Right, so
yeah.
these aren't final. That's what we're doing. Okay, thank you.
I'm sorry, just for clarification, you said fire amenities is 10,000?
For,
Oh, okay, yeah.
For-
Downtown is.
right, but you're saying for South Historic, you would like it to be up to 5 at least?
It would have to be 10 for at
10,
least 10 for the gas lamps,
Okay.
yes.
But I thought she did away with that idea.
So the historic preservation is different than the gas lamps. That was something that was brought up at the February meeting. A resident came and asked if this CRA would consider lighting those gas lamps and repairing them. Then the question of what are our other options? We kind of went down that path. Historic Preservation Board said no to solar. Electrical is not an option. So that's where we get the $10,000 to light the lamps annually and to repair them. So the 10,000 would be that max for the first year, and then the years after that it'll go down because the $10,000 does include repairing those lamps.
And signage goes to 10,000 as well?
No, sir,
You said
3,000.
3,000, okay.
The gas lighting, that's for downtown and South Historic District or
Just
one,
south,
pardon?
just the south.
Just for South? Okay,
And again, that'll be presented to you all at the September 25th CRA meeting. To see what option you would like to go with, if you'd like to light them, because that decision has not been made yet, but we are budgeting for it, or if you would not like to. So that'll be a discussion item then.
okay. Well, the 10,000 I'm seeing is under downtown. Am I missing something?
Ms. Cardy did state that that was a typo for the South Historic District. So for the
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
no worries. This, for the Central Business District, site amenities could have to do with if we wanted to change any of the lighting there. The park, there's a park in the downtown, that park is already being worked on, but I can go to things like that, benches, things along those lines, any amenities in that area. We haven't decided how we're gonna spend that money for the Central Business District quite yet, but I am looking into different options.
Any further questions on the budget?
I would like clarity, please, on one section. I'm sorry. If I can, for South District, just want to be sure. For signage, what is the amount? Or 3,000, and for landscaping? Or the site amenities, is that going up to 10?
10,000.
Okay, I just want to be sure. Thank you.
So we went 10 times, well, it was zero to 10,000. In prior years, it was 1,000. And in what, 23, 24 was 3,000. Did we actually use that money out the budget in those previous years?
We didn't have a CRA coordinator.
Oh, well, yeah, coordinator, but did we use the money?
No,
sir.
the money was not used. When I first started my role, I did a deep dive into the budget, every line item for the past at least 3 years, and that wasn't used. I do agree, I think, because with me being in this role, I do have things planned of how I would like to spend those funds next year, and I'm confident that we will be looking at a different projected actual next year. With me being in this role, I have a lot of exciting things planned that I'm excited to present to you at the September meeting. So we'll really see things come into fruition.
Historically, the South Historic Neighborhood Association was the advisory committee to the CRA. They would look at all of these things and make recommendations, and the CRA would approve them or not. Don't seem to be very active. Ditto for the North Historic District Neighborhood Association. So that has kind of fallen by the wayside. It's kind of all fallen on you now, so, to come up with those recommendations. So.
And one more item, is there a base amount that you all would desire for the home repair grant? Do you want to put like at least 15,000, or do you have a base in mind for the home repair grant?
May I add something to that?
Wait,
Okay.
I just want to get their input, please.
Commissioner Jones, you brought it up, so what are you thinking?
Well, we reduced about 15,000. Well, I still didn't get the real gist of that. We reduced it and then we turned around and said it's 40,000, which I would have thought if we reduced it and we're gonna put it back into a new program, it would have been an addition to, so 40 plus 15.
Oh, that's
So-
what you would like. That's what I want to understand. Okay.
I can provide a little bit of clarification on that for the rationale behind that. So at the last budget workshop, I did present it as a home repair program, which would really be a home repair / code compliance program. After talking about it a little bit more, we currently have a home repair program that is done differently in the city. So to create more clarification, since since then, there's been a lot of confusion between myself and Mr. Carlos with our different programs. People are getting a little confused. So we decided to rename it to the code compliance. And the way that I've structured that program, I have drafted an application pending approval. You all will see it. But it's not only just people that have code violations. It's also for those that might be in jeopardy and other things related to getting their house up to standards for safety. With CRA, since it's slum and blight is what our mission is, we're focused on the exterior. That's why we changed the building improvement grant to only be exterior. So we're not improving people's kitchens and bathrooms and things along those lines. So those are things, home repair would still happen with the code compliance, just on the exterior standpoint. That's why that money was moved. It created it's just a retitling. Basically the same program, just a retitling is what happened there.
Yeah, and I could appreciate that, but it wouldn't matter if the house looked good on the outside, but the kitchen floor is falling in. So I would still like for it to be a home improvement, so it can encompass inside and outside. So you putting the stipulations on, I think that can impede people from getting help that they still need. That's why I would fight for that to still be home improvement. So,
Okay.
you know, we are fighting, we're fighting blight and slum with the code enforcement already. So, that's my take on it. That's why I was strongly against it. And I saw your program already. I read it, so that's why I kind of opposed it.
Understood,
Thank
thank you.
I can agree with you, but from a fiscal standpoint, it's, once you go down that road of doing interior, it's a money pit.
Yeah, but it's a limit. You're not gonna,
Well, you're not gonna get much done with,
well, something's better than nothing.
And
Anyway.
so in conclusion, I'm just making sure
Okay.
that we follow guidance provided. And so, Ms. Odom, I think what we have is that we'll have the line for the code compliance.
Okay.
And we'll also have one line for home repair, okay? Thank you.
Mayor, if I may,
am I ready for you? I
I'm gonna
guess.
say, if I may, I just want to log my time.
Yeah,
It's
I was
about
going to
talking
say,
about
I was
5:40.
going to announce that you had arrived.
About 5:45, so just,
We'll have you punch in. Is there any further budget draft, for the draft budget and further questions? Okay, we're gonna move on to discussion FY 2025-2026 presentation, finding of necessity study for potential CRA boundary expansion. Excuse me.
So I have GAI consultants here. I have Mr. Tom and Mr. John here to speak about that. They're the consultants that have been working on this for us. As you know, there was a pause due to the legislation that did not pass, but per the last, I'm sorry, not the last CRA meeting, but the one prior to that, we did discuss wanting a little bit more information on what the pros and cons are to doing the boundary expansion. And we've also, they have some options that they're going to present to you all that staff was a part of, and I will let them take over. Thank you.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, ladies and gentlemen of the CRA Board. My name is John Jones with GAI Consultant, 615 East South Street, Orlando, Florida, 32803. With me this evening is Mr. Tom Kohler. And if we could jump on to the next slide. Next slide, please. All right, there's our agenda for this evening. We're going to talk about the existing redevelopment agency and its districts. We're going to talk about some of the conditions in each one of the districts, the proposed redevelopment expansion area, the expansion area's potential for generating TIF over the next 10 years, how much we estimate could be generated there, the work completed to date, and then we'll summarize all of this with what the options are for the CRA. You've got some very distinctive decision points to make. Next slide, please. So here we see a timeline of the CRA. It outlines when it was established in 1983. The CRA operational timeframe is out to 2044 at the current moment. The last CRA plan update was in 2021. Next slide, please. This shows the current configuration of the Palatka CRA areas. The green being the central district, central business district, the red being the North Historic District, and the gold being the South Historic District. Next slide, please. Now we're going to look at in a little greater detail at each one of the districts. The North Historic District has the little red arrow there pointing at it. Next slide, please. It's about 28 acres. Whoop, there we go. 28 acres, 64 parcels. The primary use is low density residential. That means single family residential. Currently, the vacancies in the district are 3 parcels. When we say vacancy, that means it's a parcel without a building on it, not a house without anyone living in it or a commercial structure that's not occupied, but it's a parcel with no building on it. And that's about 0.61 acres of the total area. The 2023 TIF revenue that was available was about $47,000, 21,000 coming from the county and 26,000 coming from the city. Next slide, please. Now we're going to look at the central business district redevelopment area. That's about 200 acres, 447 parcels. It has a mix of uses in it. Primarily commercial uses with higher density residential and also some public uses in there and institutional uses. Oh, next slide, please. I'm sorry. There we go. The vacancies in the area, there's residential vacancies, there's commercial vacancies, and there's also institutional vacancies. Most of the vacancies are commercial vacancies. So those are commercial parcels, future land use and zoning for commercial, but there's no buildings on them. This is the largest TIF generator for the redevelopment agency. It generated about $432,000 in TIF, $191,000 coming from the county, and about $240,000 coming from the city. Next slide, please. Now we look at the South District. The South District is about 49 acres, 158 parcels. The primary use here is low density residential. It's another single family residential neighborhood. Vacancies include about 15 parcels, 2.4 acres. The TIF revenue in 2023 was $138,000, with $61,000 coming from the county and about $77,000 coming from the city. Next slide, please. So that was a little primer on just the existing CRA districts. Now we're going to talk about the proposed expansion area. The proposed expansion area is that blue area that you see outlined with the big arrow pointing onto it. And next slide, please. That area it's big. It's about 625 acres, a little over 1,000 parcels. Primary uses are commercial and residential. However, it has a large number of vacant parcels. 251 residential vacant parcels, 44 commercial vacant parcels, and about 4 institutional parcels. So roughly about a third of the parcels in this area are vacant. So that's a lot. And the next slide is a visual demonstration of that. If you can see the little colored blocks inside that blue area, the majority of the vacant parcels are residential. Those are yellow parcels. The next is commercial vacant parcels. Those are the red parcels. And then the blue parcels, there's 4 of them in there. There you go. And those are the institutional parcels. And those are either city-owned or either schools and or churches.
Could we start right there?
Yes, sir.
Question. I don't have that in my package, but I can see it up here. So, but I do want to ask a question for clarity. On the, I guess the most northern part of the parcel, they almost look like stairs that's going out to the wetlands.
Yes, sir.
So those are parcels out there in the wetlands, like going toward the river already?
To my knowledge, yes, sir.
It is privately owned.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I just want the clarity. I want to know what I'm looking at.
There may be some environmental wetland areas in there, environmental preservation areas in there. But we haven't broken that out on a parcel by parcel in that area yet.
It's kind of interesting to me that was included before a lot of parcels that's already have structures on it.
Yes, sir.
And that's kind of interesting. So why would that kind of like be? Is that what we said we wanted as a focal point?
Yes, sir. That was the map that was provided by
That's
the
what
city.
the city asked for.
Yes, sir.
Staff. I just want to know, because I know that we haven't discussed that up here.
Here prior to me getting it.
I just want to know, okay.
This is, to the best of my knowledge, this is the request that was given to them.
Mm.
We're just following.
This falls in line with what the city's geographical jurisdictional limits are. Just because the city's jurisdictional line is there does not mean it's actually buildable lots. These are jurisdictional wetlands. They might be under private property ownership, but they are not necessarily buildable. Beyond that is conservation that I believe belongs to Putnam County.
All right, but those owners will be able to get some type of benefit once they're,
No,
I'm asking, it's a question, so.
correct. That, no, not necessarily. If it's a jurisdictional wetland, there is the possibility that they may not be able to use that property for any sort of residential or commercial use.
Possibility.
This is, this matters, the proposal they responded to was back in 2024. Maybe the early part, yeah, okay.
All right, next slide, please. Now we're going to look at what that proposed expansion district, what the potential TIF generation, that's tax increment fund generation, could be over the next 10 years. It has a current taxable value of about $64 million. And so when we apply a 6.6, 5.9 to 6.6 growth rate to that, over the next 10 years, we anticipate the TIF revenue could be about $4 million. So, and that's at a 6.6, 5.9 to 6.6 growth rate. That growth rate is based on a 10-year historic trend for the city overall. Next slide, please. And this table just gives you a breakdown of what that growth would look like over time. It would really pick up at the end of that 10-year period is when the growth really starts to compound. Next slide, please. We are asked to describe the work that has been completed to date. And so the next slide shows what those items have been, including the preliminary finding of necessity data gathering for the proposed expansion area that include creating a boundary map, doing preliminary photo survey of the area, doing preliminary TIF projections for the area, looking at the taxable value history for the area, and then looking at the initial slum and blight conditions in the area. And some of the slum and blight conditions that are existent in that area include calls for emergency services that are higher, proportionally higher than the rest of the city or the county, a large number of dilapidated structures in the area, a large number of vacant parcels that we discussed previously. And it also has demonstrated slower taxable growth in that area than in other areas of the city or county. Next slide, please. So now we have some decision points for the CRA board to consider. Next slide. The first decision point, or the one that kind of overarches all of them, is does the potential TIF revenue for that area provide enough for meaningful redevelopment investment in that area? So over the next 10 years, is that $4 million enough to provide meaningful investment in that area?
And to clarify, because this is an expansion, not a new separate district, our district will sunset existing in 2035. Therefore, this portion of it would as well, because it becomes part of the existing.
Correct.
Correct.
The operational timeframe of the CRA is based on when the agency was created, not when the districts were added. So when the agency sunsets, all the districts sunset, no matter when they were
Including
added.
this new extension.
Yes, ma'am. Next slide, please. So that brings us to three options. These are the decision points, and we're going to go through each one of these options and talk about the pros and cons for each one. So option one would be to expand the CRA, perform the finding of necessity study. That's what the FON stands for. And then also update the CRA plan to recognize that expansion and identify new projects. Option two would be to keep the current CRA boundaries and update the CRA plan with new projects. Option three would be to keep the CRA plan, the current CRA plan, and update the plan only to address potential legislative challenges. last year, there were several legislative challenges that were proposed to CRAs, including limiting their operational timeframe and limiting the number of projects that could be acted upon by CRAs. For example, if you didn't have a project in your project budget last year, if the legislation had passed, you wouldn't be able to add any new projects to it next year. We anticipate that there will be another attempt to implement these legislative changes beginning in January. And if that was the case, these legislative changes would become effective in July of next year. So we'll know more in January, but we anticipate this to come down the pipe again. We've been speaking with our Florida Redevelopment Association legislative leaders and their lobbyists, and they have indicated that they anticipate that those legislative changes will be queued up again. All right, let's look at option one in greater detail and some of the pros and cons. So option one is to expand the CRA boundary, perform the finding of necessity, and update the CRA plan to recognize the expanded area. So a couple of the pros for that is that it identifies the area for redevelopment and targeted investment. You know, you're focusing on that area. It also enables access to the county share of the TIF revenue. So remember, it's not just the city contributing, but you also get some of that county, you get the county increment as well. The cons for that are it's limited TIF revenue for investment in projects. There's a lot to be done in that area, and $4 million isn't going to go very far. And then the second con is it dilutes the agency's focus from the existing CRA districts. So you're trying to do a lot more. The elephant got a lot bigger. All right, next slide, please. Option two, and feel free to ask questions at any time during this. So option two is keep the current CRA boundaries and update the CRA plan. The pros for this is that it enables you to update the projects list and put new projects on there. It updates TIF revenues. It maintains a focus on the current CRA districts, and it also enables you to potentially address the anticipated legislative changes that are coming next year. The cons for option two is that it does not include the expansion area at all. All right, option three. Option three is to keep the current CRA plan and only update it to address the potential legislative challenges. The pros for this are it's a minimal cost to the city and the CRA because there's not that much to update if you're not going to update your TIF projections or identify new projects or look at the existing conditions. The other pro is that it provides an opportunity to address the potential legislative threats. Those are coming. The cons, it does not expand the redevelopment area, and it does not update the TIF revenue projections. So that's the pros and cons for each one of those options. Next slide, please. We were also asked by Ms. Odom to talk about the use of, well, actually, community redevelopment plans, what goes into them, and then also the use of TIF funds, how you can use them, what you can spend it on. So first, we're going to talk about what goes into a community redevelopment plan, what's supposed to be there. So your community redevelopment plan needs to have a legal description and also the reason for establishing the area, that finding of necessity, the finding of slum and blight. And then you also have to show by general terms the open space and street layouts. Those are your aerial maps, your limitations on the type, size, height, and number of the proposed buildings and the proposed use of buildings, the number of dwelling units in the area, public use areas, including parks, recreational areas, streets, public utilities, and public improvements. Next slide. And also the neighborhood impact element if the area contains low to moderate income housing. And also these highlighted areas are key. It identifies specifically any publicly funded capital projects to be undertaken in the area, not necessarily those just by the CRA, but if there's county projects or other city projects that are going on inside the CRA area. Also provide for retention and controls to run with the land, provide an element of residential use, contain a detailed statement of projected costs of redevelopment. That's your long-term budget, your action plan. And also a time certain when these items would be completed. That would be your operational time frame, and also when your project schedule, basically. So those are the contents of what has to be in a redevelopment plan based on Florida statutes. Next slide, please. The next slide talks about what the use of trust fund revenues, what you can use the money for. You can use the money for administrative costs, the salaries and benefits of the employees, operating the CRA, planning services, surveys, financial analysis, acquisition of real property, clearance and preparation of the area for redevelopment, including relocation of site occupants if necessary, repayment of bond and debt, incidental costs associated with issuance of bonds, the development of affordable housing, and expenses allocated with just operating the CRA. Next slide, please. These are the two key items with regards to use of TIF trust funds. TIF trust funds can only be used for items that are identified in your community redevelopment plan. If it's not in your plan, you can't spend TIF funds on it. And TIF trust funds cannot be used to supplement the general fund. So if you're running short in a general fund and you go to the TIF trust fund to offset some losses somewhere else in the general fund, you can't do that. It's not a slush fund, it's a trust fund. The money is put there under the trust that it's going to be spent for redevelopment and nothing else. Next slide. And this is one that's a kicker as well. On the last day of any fiscal year, if there's any money remaining in your TIF trust fund, it either has to be returned to the taxing authority. That means given back to the city or given back to the county, or it can be used to reduce indebtedness if you have a debt that you're paying off. It can be deposited into an escrow account for indebtedness, or it can be appropriated for a specific project in the plan. It doesn't have to be used for that specific project in the plan immediately. You can forward that money, roll it forward for up to 3 years, but it has to be allocated to a specific project in the plan. If not, if there's any money left over, you have to send it back. If it's not allocated, you have to send it back to the city or the county. And that's every year. So that's like the financial sword of Damocles hanging over your head. So at that, I'd like to thank you for your attention and your patience through the presentation and open it up to any questions or discussion.
Does anybody have any specific questions of Mr. Downs?
I just want to thank him for that presentation because it was very informative. And, I certainly was pushing for the extension or expansion of the TIF district in the north area. It's a twofold thing in my opinion, I think, when you look at it, because when you look at the potential, what it has to, over the next 10 years, I know you say, well, it won't make a big dent in that area based on the size. But when you look at it, 400,000, if you're going to be running about 400 some thousand a year.
Mhm.
And that can do quite a bit. An example would be, look at the South Historic District and
Mhm.
the amount of projects get done through there. And then a lot of times, all the money were not spent each year. And so some of it built up for specialized projects. But and again, we look at that area where that money will make a big impact. $400,000, 400,000 per year would make a significant impact in an area like that. But it'll be up to the board to decide if we want to move forward or not. But it's a double-edged sword. But that's why I wanted the numbers to make sure that we just didn't make an impromptu decision without data.
Agree, Commissioner. It is a policy decision.
Commissioner Campbell?
I appreciate this presentation as well, definitely very thorough. But one of the questions that I have, being with that area, is a lot of public housing in the area. How does it look? Because I don't think that money could go towards those areas, correct?
It could go to affordable housing. One of the tenets of community redevelopment is affordable housing. Whether or not those parcels contribute any public taxes to the general fund or to the TIF trust fund is another issue. So you can spend money on affordable housing, on the existing housing that you have there for public housing. You could spend redevelopment funds on that if it is identified in your redevelopment plan, and it would be. So they wouldn't be contributing to the TIF fund, but they could benefit from TIF fund use in that area.
Any further questions? Commissioner Warren, you have a question?
Oh, no, I was gonna make a comment on it, but, yeah, I just don't see where, I'll just refrain from commenting.
I'll say it. If you go back to that slide, because it
Yes, sir.
concerns me,
Yes, sir.
and I want clarity.
No, it'd be the one with the map with the big blue area.
Because let's go back to what Commissioner Campbell was saying, what I was trying to hit on.
There you go.
In those areas, there is a lot of public housing. So I don't personally see the benefit of trying to expand that far. So what you're gonna do is, those areas, city's not gonna benefit at all, because you said they can. Are we, or what is that, I want to put it right. The public housing don't pay any taxes to the city,
That's correct.
right? At all.
That's correct.
So they're not gonna get no tax increment financing, which TIF is. So, the other area that I pointed out, the wetlands and maybe future land use, and somebody might have future use to develop that area. I just couldn't see us, at this time, including that other area that, I mean, I don't know if we have the numbers of how many, I saw the numbers up there, but those numbers just don't seem right, of the amount of housing that's contributing. Those numbers don't seem right.
Contributing to the tax base.
Unless you're just projecting, and you're projecting those other parcels that's out there. So is that what you're doing?
I'm not sure I understand the question, sir.
Are those public housing parcels included in your numbers?
No, sir.
Well, and that side of town, that's what's mostly over there. So you go from,
And to speak candidly,
Yeah.
the public housing in that area is in better shape than most of the other housing in that area.
absolutely, but still, we're talking about getting the TIF funds. So you're not gonna get TIF funds from those parcels. So
Correct.
that's why those numbers don't look right to me. I mean, maybe you could break it down in another session or something, and show me where I'm wrong, but, I don't see that many parcels over there like that. And the ones that are eligible probably, again, the taxable value of those homes right now.
Mhm.
That's why we're talking about home improvement,
Mhm.
because those, they need it. But anyway, I appreciate
No, those are all very valid points.
Yeah.
Very valid points.
so I appreciate the presentation, but, I think Commissioner Campbell hit the nail on the head, for looking in that area, and then where we talk about expanding, that expansion goes back beyond places that we actually see on a daily basis. So there will be some, heavy impact on infrastructure, where we're gonna have to start talking about infrastructure going back that way. So the cost is gonna be great too. We may get 4 million, but the
Sure.
cost of the infrastructure to put it back there is gonna cost us way more than that, so. Okay.
Another thing that kind of draws my concern is when you look at the amount of the vacancies of the properties. The mix of the residential, the commercial, and well, not so much the institutional, but I'm kind of in the mind frame of Commissioner Jones when it comes down to, and I'm just trying to wrap my mind around it, and I think it'll be an awesome opportunity to put some funding in that area, but I'm just not seeing it based on I'm not really grasping it based on what I see here. And maybe it's just knowing the area, but I'm just having a hard time just trying to bring it all together.
I do. And my other concern is, and you've mentioned this, is the fact that I'm assuming or guessing that state legislature is going to, this is going to come up again, the CRA at the state legislature. And if they make any changes, it would stop this whole process and then it would be cut short again. That jump start and die thing is not good for the people living there, and it's not good for the community as a whole. I have a lot of reservations about this expansion too, for a variety of things that have been mentioned.
So I'm in agreement. So what are we missing? Are we missing anything?
No, you're not missing anything. Yeah, no, you've hit all the points.
Thank
And
you.
if I may say something, the reason why the presentation, we asked, we wanted you to have a lot of information so you can make a decision to inform us if you wanted us to continue or not, because the consultant had started. And then when the legislative matter came up, you know, we both parties said, wait, let's wait and see what's gonna happen. So now we're at the position where if you want us to continue, then we would continue. And if you now say, well, right now it doesn't make sense, then they'll stop. And if they are gonna stop, then we need to know how you're gonna close it out. Are
So-
you know, are you gonna update the
But there
plan?
are some other options
Right,
So
too.
that goes back to
basically,
the
it's-
options.
Basically, if we give the okay to go, I'm just saying, I'm just trying to play it all out. There's still a possibility that they're gonna have to stop in January based on what the conversation is on the Hill. So it's a stop and go.
That was my concern that I raised just a moment ago.
Yeah.
Yes, that stop and
So I
go.
wanted to bring that out so we can.
Again, this,
know.
I'm sorry, I'm Tom Kohler, with GAI. And just to give you some perspective, I was the first CRA director, one of the first in the state of Florida. That shows how old I was, in 1980. And we've gone through this legislative
I know. Ian.
dance every few years. No, the answer to your question, Mr. Campbell, is that the legislation, if they pass it, would not take effect until July 1st. So what we're trying to do for you is determine where you are. If we're going to, if you do not choose to expand the area, regardless of that, update your CRA plan, your downtown and both your historic districts, okay? We want to make sure that if you updating that plan, it includes maybe some additional projects that you currently don't have in the 2021 plan. Okay, that way it's whatever the legislators do, you've exactly got that in place. They won't take that away. They can't retroactively take that away. Anything, if you don't have it in your plan and they come in there, then you're stuck with what you did in 2021, which may not be bad. Actually, John was the project manager with another firm back then. So that's what we're trying to do. And there's also probably some administrative cleanup
Right.
that we need to do internally for the city of Palatka. When you go back to 83, 90, I can't remember the thing, but you've made several decision points. Some of them were resolution, some of them were ordinance. You've got to straighten all that out so there's not any question sometime in the future. So that's really part of the process. And one of the other things you brought up earlier that we've talked with Mr. Cardy about was you need an interlocal agreement between the CRA and the city. So then you have a codification of when you're talking about administrative funds going from one, you don't want to get trapped in that. We're using some of the money for other cities have done that and been caught. And so they had to refund those. So anyway, I just wanted to clarify that there's some administrative stuff that goes regardless of what it is, but
Okay, thank you.
yeah.
One minute, but I think Commissioner Warren, did you have something before Commissioner Davis or no?
Well, I just wanted to just say, I would have liked to seen the, contributing, houses in the plan as well, just the ones.
I'm
that's
sorry,
contributing-
the contributing what?
The,
Tax- tax revenue?
yeah, the contributing taxpayers for that. I just need like, and it's not represented up there. And also just the implementation cost, so you can make a better informed decision.
We're gonna tell you that in a few moments. So basically, what the commissioner is saying is where you have current taxable values, 64 million, he would have liked to have had the listing of like, for instance, or a number, like how many households, residential, I think you probably have.
How many
Oh,
The
parcels?
residential parcels.
Well, we have all the parcels there.
Right.
So
That's,
Yeah,
that's the
mean,
same.
Okay. Just-
candidly, in my experience, residential does not contribute a whole lot.
Commercial.
Right.
Particularly when you have your save your house, you know, and your homestead exemptions and so forth. We have a number of cities where they're getting almost zilch from their
It's commercial.
housing
Commercial.
to the TIF. So it's primarily commercial and industrial
Right.
that will be contributing to this increment.
Right, I understand that piece of it as well, but the other piece of it too is that the majority of the people in the city of Palatka and Putnam County are renters. There's not a lot of people who own homes, so a lot of those properties, they're not, owned by
Yep.
some of the people that's living in those
Yeah,
properties.
we
So,
they don't have the
but-
exemption. I understand that. Yes,
So
sir.
that means that if it's not your homesteaded property, you would be getting 100%.
Yes.
Right.
Commissioner Davis?
Well, thank you for this information. It definitely clears up a lot for me. Based on where our city is and all of the feedback that was given, it's clear to me that we are not in a position to expand. In addition, we still have so much opportunity in our existing TIFs.
CRA.
So much activity. I'm sorry, opportunity. And based on the options, when I'm looking at them and considering this, it seems like option 2 is our best option at this time to update our plan, put new projects in there if needed based on where we are today, and get a plan to get this downtown going. So
That was what I was gonna
yeah.
summarize too. So thank you for doing that, Commissioner Campbell.
She kind of did what
I was gonna say the same thing. So I think
Uh,
we're on the same page.
Because just when you realistically look at it and you look at the existing CRAs, districts, to expand that much, just it's
Well, clearly
Yeah.
the action in the others.
right, right.
Thank you. Do you have something else, Commissioner?
Yeah, I just want to understand when you're saying to expand to that degree, because we're only talking about the North TIF district. And basically, that district is only producing $40-some thousand for that particular area. So the expansion is not
No, it's the
really.
whole CRA. It would,
No.
it would include the expansion would be in addition to the existing whole CRA, not just the North tip. Correct?
No, you can't, you don't mix all three, right? It's only talking about the North, right?
The North District does have a TIF revenue of about $47,000.
Correct. So we're not talking about expanding it into, because you can't do that. You already have your south, you have your central, you cannot include anything else in that. We were just strictly, specifically for the North TIF, which was going from the riverfront to 4th and a half Street out. And so you're still only gonna generate your revenue of $40-something thousand a year. That's
Mhm.
what's my point.
And this is a third rail I shouldn't be stepping on. The use of TIF funds or the commingling of TIF funds is a policy decision by the governing board. Whether or not you put them all into one trust fund and spend it throughout the entire redevelopment district, that's a policy decision that is up to the city. But it is something that is allowed by statute and you can do that.
Oh, really?
Any other comments, questions? Okay, thank you. We do have some, yes, we have some public
Thank you, Madam
comment.
Mayor, ladies and gentlemen of the board.
Thank you. We have some public comment cards. Ms. Kitchens?
League Kitchens, Palatka, Florida. First of all, you all had a very red flag and you all missed it. It said relocation of site residents. That sounds like gentrification is in the offing. Gentrification replaces the existing population with a new, more acceptable population. You don't want that to happen on the north side of Palatka or the south side.
What you call it?
Gentrification.
Gentrification.
Look at Lincoln, Lincolnville and St. Augustine. Check that out. But when I saw it said relocation of site residents, so you're going to scoop them up and remove them by hook or by crook. That's not a good idea. Number one, or number two, the South Historic District is actually 385 parcels with 297 separate owners. The actual TIF district is smaller than the actual historic district. So there is a distinction which was not made by these fellas. I believe you could expand the North Historic District if you wanted to. However, that blue map up there shows that is a 100-year floodplain. All that stuff you say that looks great, 100-year floodplain. That cannot be developed. The other thing is they're going south of St. John's Avenue all the way down to Oak Street and picking up residents. They're going up East Forest Park and picking up the residential part of East Forest Park and going to past Highway, State Road, US 17. Forest Park is a very unusual situation, and the city was involved in a lawsuit which they upheld the planning board when the owners of the property on Reed Street tried to get those lots rezoned to commercial. The lots are the same lots that are up on Forest Park, and they're all residential all the way down. The late F.B. Oliver in the 50s bulldozed down the hill so he could build his service station. It's still residential. The planning board agreed with the residents who brought a lawyer for the Forest Park residents. The planning board agreed it should not be rezoned commercial. The city upheld the planning board, and it went to the 9th District Court of Appeals in Daytona, and the District Court of Appeals held up the city and the planning board saying that that property should not be commercial. It should be residential. So the least that should happen is it should not be on the east side of Forest Park. I don't believe it should come down to Oak Street, and it certainly shouldn't include the swampland. And which of the commissioners pointed out, there's a large number of housing projects over there in schools. They pay no taxes. The churches pay no taxes. So I think your option, and may I point out, I think your option should be number 3. Your CRA plan was updated maybe 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago. Brand new master plan for the CRA. You all approved, well, not you all, because some of you all weren't, Ms. Davis wasn't there, Ms. Correa wasn't, I don't think Mr. Jones was. But there was the master plan CRA was updated. It might've been a year ago. I think it was 2 or 3 years ago, so it has been updated. So I don't think you need to go with any of it. If you do, go with option 3, which doesn't include updating the master plan because it's already been updated. Thank you.
Thank you. We have Mr. Deputy.
Sam Deputy, 623 St. John's Avenue,
Or a
Palatka.
minute, let the beepings there. Go ahead, sorry.
My questions were answered on the public housing because I didn't understand how that was being fitted in there. Although I remember serving on this board and nonprofit churches were at that time allowed to apply for the TIF fund. And that meant that all of our historic churches downtown were then eligible for building funds for facades, which there was a fear because at that time there wasn't that much income coming in and any of those churches could use up the entire fund for their facade. But that was a big discussion we had. But my other concern was for those of us that have been there a while, and we've been in this district 59 and a half years, by expanding and including in that, then you take this pot that was very small at the beginning, and finally we got some traction after all these years. And if we expanded it, then we're back to the beginning, and you have pulled the rug on those of us that have been there trying to redevelop this by saying we're now going to spread this small fund of $500,000 over a larger area. And that does concern us that have been there, if I understand this right. And it's been a little confusing. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. did you want to respond to that, Mr. Jones, in any way, or make sure that was accurate? Okay, thank you. Because, yes, again, what.
Good evening. We don't have sound on the Zoom, so I believe that Retail Strategies is ready to present. So with that, I'll just go ahead and get started. If there are any questions, we might have to figure out something about the sounds just because we're not getting anything over here. But thank you so much for this opportunity to talk with you guys. The city of Palatka is pretty near and dear to my heart. I truly think I have more history with this city than I do my own husband. So that's a lot to say there, but I'm thrilled for this opportunity to meet with you all. So thank you for this. I am Sarah Beth Stewart. I'm the Vice President of Community Partnerships for Retail Strategies. I am joined with my colleague, Jen Gregory, who is the President of Downtown Strategies. So let's go ahead and kick in. We're going to be talking about the implementation support. So about a year ago, you guys won a grant through Florida Commerce to do an updated 5-year strategic plan. I was actually pretty influential in helping getting that grant written. I actually presented it to city staff about a year ago. I know you guys had a lot of staff changes, so that ended up not coming our way. But you do have a plan. And through our conversations with city staff, we've learned that there's some frustrations with that plan, and we really want to figure out how to move forward with it. So we would like to do an implementation support partnership. This is all about taking where you currently are, your current plans, other plans that might be outdated, existing plans, really looking at all of those different things that might be sitting on the shelf, but how can we turn them into action? So we're going to determine where do we want to go to first. We're going to outline exactly how to get there. Our team is going to help you around different obstacles, as well as connecting with partners, providing encouragement, and most importantly, holding the team accountable. We'll also support you through templates and training, and then we have access to examples with other very successful communities. So on to the next slide is a little bit more about the process. So the strategic action plan is there. We're going to break it down into 2 separate teams. The core team, that first team there, is going to be city staff. So the CRA director, the city manager, and other applicable staff members. We're going to support them through templates and training. We're going to connect them with trusted partners, as well as troubleshooting and technical assistance. From there, we're also going to set up our our local action teams. Those local action teams are going to be your worker bees, the doers of your community, people that are very engaged, they're stakeholders, maybe they're property owners, maybe it's city council and other CRA staff members, but we're going to engage with them and we're going to help build capacity through those local action teams as volunteers. So that's the two-pronged approach. And on to the next slide, we're going to identify very specific projects. So laid out in some of the plans that we've seen, economic vitality is a huge component of what you guys want to accomplish. We're also going to be looking at storefront activation, small scale promotions, entrepreneur development, retail and restaurant recruitment, incentive programs, code enforcement, branding and marketing. I know we've talked about that earlier. Some parking's always a part of our conversations, as well as public art and wayfinding. So we're going to identify which project out of those that we want to start with first. Then we're going to host our project mapping workshop. And that's going to be with our local action teams and with our core team to go through this workbook and outline every single task that is needed to accomplish our specific strategy. We're then going to break it down into 30-day increments, so very bite-sized, very manageable. And we're going to set up our 30 for 30 meetings. And you can go on. Those 30 for 30 meetings are going to be really about accountability, communication and scheduling, and focus. We're going to work with those local action teams. We will attend every single one of those meetings. We're going to add value to that. And then we'll report back to city staff on what those meetings look like. We'll provide a summary as well as communicate what are the next steps. So Sally is in charge of A, B, and C, and Bob is in charge of X, Y, and Z. And then each month we're going to attend this meeting saying, what did we accomplish in the last 30 days? And what are we going to accomplish in the next 30 days? We're also there to provide assistance and resources. So maybe we decide, hey, we need to look at an outside person to help with, maybe it's marketing or branding or activation of the signage, whatever that could be. We have other partners that we can connect you with. On to the next slide, we're going to talk about specifically the economic vitality and business recruitment. So this is our what we call our Netflix for property owners. This is an online tool. So any and every property owner in your community or even business owners and entrepreneurs can go through this course. We've actually seen this course be really successful for other business owners. They may not be property owners, but maybe they want to buy a piece of property in the downtown in the CRA district. So that's an opportunity for them to understand what are lease terms, what are the data that is out there that they can then incorporate in their business. So this is available to an unlimited amount of business owners and property owners. They can go through this course at their leisure. It is for the lifetime of our partnership. They also have access to our team if they have specific questions. They have one-on-one consulting available. There's also some peer-to-peer sharing as well as some question and answers. The Property Owner Toolkit will also have different workbooks and different things that they, or excuse me, worksheets that they can download that coincide with the videos. On to the next slide. So we're just here to help build a sustainable framework for that long-term action. Instead of more plans sitting on the shelf, we want to see things getting done, and that's what we are here to do. I am going to turn it over to Jen, who's going to talk a little bit about this specific success story that we've laid out for you.
Yeah, so thank you, Madam Mayor and team for having us this evening. We have applied the same model to over 200 cities in 27 different states, including Florida. Most recently, we concluded a partnership with Snyder, Texas, similar population as Palatka, and a 3-year partnership in which we were able to, for them, create a strategic plan because they did not have one. You do, and then help them implement that plan. So some of the key issues that we faced when we started that partnership are similar to to, I believe, some of yours. Aging infrastructure requiring significant maintenance, neglected and outdated properties around their square, disconnected community organizations. They had a downtown organization, an economic development one, a chamber, the city, the county, not a lot of communication. And there was a very negative public perception of downtown, primarily because nobody was on the same page, and there weren't visible improvements and signs of life that were happening. And so through a lot of collaboration and communication, following the same model that Sarah Beth outlined, we met with the core team, which included representatives from all of these entities, as well as meeting with that local action team every month, facilitating those conversations and really helping them through every step of implementation. And what we think this can do, obviously, Kristen is very capable, very, equipped to take the plan that you have and push it forward. But she's a one-woman show. And so this really allows her to expand her reach and efficacy. We can support her and your team with specific strategies or projects that you have, while at the same time facilitating these local volunteer groups so that you're really seeing double the wins. In Snyder, we helped them create a facade grant program, which you have. They did not. They were able to acquire $500,000 in funding through various partners, and 23 buildings were renovated within about a 1.5 year period. We worked with them on after-hours events, really trying to create predictable shopping experiences for consumers. Many times people would go downtown and the businesses they wanted to shop with were closed, or they thought they were open and then they would be closed. So a variety of programs that we helped them get off the ground in a very short amount of time. And we're confident we can provide the same level of support, accountability, and expertise to the CRA and Palatka. Like Sarah Beth mentioned, we don't have your audio. We have just been hearing kind of since the middle of the previous presentation, just kind of garbled sound. So we would love to take your questions, but I'm not sure, Kristen, if you have any recommendations on how we could perhaps get your sound or audio.
Class. It's a lot of work that's going to be put into, or that has to be required. And do our staff has the capacity to be able to handle what they have to offer and still maintain the duties that they have day to day?
I can answer that for you. So at the second CRA meeting, I did a presentation to you all, and I'm more than happy to do it again, but it was my presentation on my vision. And it was called Reimagining the Community Redevelopment Agency. In that presentation, sadly, the audio was messed up, so I would encourage you all to rewatch it, but we can't. So I'm more than happy to do that again. And it went through a lot of these things. It went from things from the branding was how I came up with the idea in the first place. Different grant programs, different beautification based off the different CRAs I went to. I'm not sure if you recall, of course, St. Augustine, since it's closed, Titusville, Winter Park, and Sanford. I went to all of them and I met with their CRA coordinators. And since then, I've spoken extensively with them, just learning from them, doing extensive research of things we can incorporate here, different grant programs, different opportunities, and even out of state as well. There's so much to learn from different communities that may not have a CRA, but have different organizations within them that emulate what we're trying to accomplish here. I think what would be really wonderful is if I brought that presentation forward again with a little bit more of an update, since it was a while ago since I've done that. And of course, I've learned a lot more. I've interpreted the community redevelopment plan a lot more. And everything that I'm trying to bring to you all is based off of what I've researched, what I've put into that plan, and what I've brought in that presentation, as well as what I'm seeing in the community redevelopment plan. And of course, they can't hear me, but
We can hear
downtown.
you now,
Oh,
Kristen.
wonderful, great,
Yeah.
thank you. So downtown strategies, just learning about them, learning about different opportunities. Yes, they stated, I am a one-woman show. There is a lot of responsibilities that do fall under me, and I do stay very busy throughout the day managing the different grants. And now we're going to implement 2 more grants, meeting with residents, meeting with potential business owners, dealing with the daily frustrations they may have, just being an advocate for them. I spend a lot of my time doing that and researching, but this gives us an opportunity to work with experts that are going to help us expedite where we're wanting to go. That 5-year downtown strategic plan was done based on the public's input, and they will help us with the tools to implement that plan. And it won't just be extra work for staff, but it's an opportunity to use the public, bring them involved, since we do have many residents that do want to be involved. And I think a lot of the time when I bring different initiatives forward, there's a little bit of hesitance because you're not hearing from the public. And I think this is an opportunity to bring the public in, and then we come to you all. So when I come to you, there's public input, there's staff recommendation, and then that allows you all to make a full rounded decision. And that's how I came here today to bring up downtown strategies.
And I appreciate it. What I want to make sure is, a couple of years ago, there was an individual from Pensacola that came and did.
Quince Judah.
That's
it.
That's it. So was that solely for our downtown area? Because a lot of the stuff that I'm hearing are things that have already been pitched to the city. And what I'm trying to get, the point that I'm trying to make, we have been brought a lot of information, and we haven't done nearly as much as we could with the information that we have received. And I get it, fresh eyes, new visions. I like that. You might want to use that. But I also want us to not be in the habit of
I'm so sorry to interrupt if I am, but the sound has gone out again. I deeply apologize if I interrupted anyone.
till you implement it. And that's what I am trying to do here is implement. And I think we've only had 4 meetings, CRA meetings since I've started, because we meet every other month. And I do believe with us meeting on a more monthly occasion, we can really get things going. And I think that's why we decided to go with the monthly meetings, because I feel like it's put me at a little bit of a disadvantage to be able to kind of keep the momentum going. But I asked that you all consider, if you would not mind, this opportunity, and even at a later date, I'm more than happy to put this on a later agenda for you all to consider. I really do see the benefits as outlined in my memo and in their presentation, and they do have the track record. They've worked with CRAs, they've worked with similar communities to us and taken them to where they want to go, not where somewhere else someone tells them they want to go, where the community wants to land. Thank you.
Any other questions?
I think the charges with the CRA board, the charges with the commission, the charges with the CRA director, the charges with the city manager. We vote on these things every year. Now, those plans are out there. Some of those things have already been worked. That's where you pick the projects every year, especially in the CRA area. You gotta, the CIP and all those things are all a portion of that. A lot of those things have been worked. We just got to make sure that whatever we're working, we have the master plan to show what we are completing and how we are meeting the goals of the overall vision and comprehensive plan, CRA plan, and all those things. It has to stay before us and see how we're approving these projects and making sure those projects are being completed and they fall off the map. You see the results out in the areas. And so that's what we got to have. And it's all accountability and responsibility.
Right.
So going forward, we're going to make sure that we have some of those things. And I sent Ms. Carty and the finance director some stuff that, would like for her to share with the group coming around September 1 to make sure that those things are shared with the group so that we all be on the same page and know how we're moving and approving projects and doing the benefits for the community.
And it might be worth it just in the current budget to keep it as a placeholder till we determine how to move forward exactly. Because again, as Commissioner Campbell mentioned, Quint Studer came, the city and county and other municipalities gave funding for him to come in and he came and he whatever. And basically his concepts and some of these are the same as the Main Street program, design, organization, and promotion, economic vitality, which is the core tenets of the Main Street program. And we have a Main Street and we have a revitalized, we have all these groups and we've had a history of coming up with all of this and then just putting it on a shelf somewhere as a dust collector. We've got a lot of that going on. So we probably do need somebody to spearhead the implementation. I think we need more information and I think that would be great. And I think we should just leave it in the budget for the time being
Which is
until we
what I
see how to
did.
move forward, because we can always reallocate.
Yes, I did.
If I may add, I understand that, if I may ask a question. So the gentleman you're referring to, did he provide a plan or did he provide long-term implementation assistance?
He just basically came in with his strategies and ideas based on his book and what he's done in
Yes.
Pensacola.
I've read
And
his
in
books.
Pensacola and Palatka are like apples and oranges. It's
Mhm.
it's totally different situation. It's not something that can be really compared. But basically his concepts were the same as the Main Street program, in my opinion, having attended all of those too and being on those boards in the past. But anyway, I think we just need to leave it as a placeholder and we need more information.
Okay.
And I
Thank
will,
you.
1 minute, Ms. Kitchens, I know you want to have public
Thanks.
comment. Does anybody else have anything? Ms. Kitchens?
Allegra Kitchens, Palatka, Florida. I just have a couple of comments, as to the Quint Studer plan, which one of the board members referred to. That plan is being implemented by Charlie Douglas and by Breck Sloan. And as the mayor mentioned, the new Palatka Main Street program, which Mr. Sloan is involved in. So Quint Studer's plans are being implemented. And then the small business district and the Chamber of Commerce do the same thing that these folks are talking about doing. They do it for free. And we give money to the small business district and we give the Chamber of Commerce is by city charter our economic development agent. But we do give money to the small business district, and they do the things that these people are talking about. Some of them, they do free classes. So what I'm seeing is some duplication, like I think Commissioner Davis talked about, and some of the other commissioners. I'm seeing duplication of efforts again. And that's just what I had to say. Thank you. Oh, the other thing, one more thing. Since 1980, I have noticed the downtown merchants, they look at downtown, they don't think about what the residents of Palatka and Putnam County want. They want to know, what can we do to bring new people in, tourists in? They don't think about what the existing citizens want downtown. So as an existing citizen, I rarely shop downtown. I do a little bit. I drive downtown, but there's not much downtown that I need. And I would like to see a downtown that actually thinks about the residents that live in the area first, and then think about kowtowing to new people coming in and getting extra money from newcomers and from people that don't live here. Thank you.
Thank you. Can I move on to the next item? Go ahead.
And, Ms. Kitchen, that was an excellent point because again, the mayor, myself and Commissioner Davis, we were on the Ride Solution bus and we asked, those residents, what would help bring them downtown. And some of them say they needed transportation, of course, and others said that people mainly don't reach out to them, and some ask for certain stores and different things of that nature. So these are the people who are the staples of the community who will help continue or sustain the revenue that these small businesses need. And so, yeah, we want to depend on some people to come from out of town, but you got to have that sustainability, and most of it is local. And so again, we want to certainly attract other people, but again, I just want to at least bring that out, but you brought up a good point.
Any public comment? Can you please fill out a card? There's public comment. Always come up, Mr. Deputy.
I'm Deputy 623 St. John's Avenue. A couple years ago, I would have really jumped on this and been all, but I've been working through the TDC grants. Oh my gosh. Event from another city to here? Do I need a nonprofit? May it be a business? May I take it my event to Palatka, the CRA district? I think before, and I'm in favor of what we're doing, I don't think we have the criteria so that it can be once again fair across the board. And that's where we've been lacking in this city. Some people have gotten and bring an event here where all the money actually leaves with that event. I think we need to have criteria that is contained and very self-explanatory. And I'm afraid because I've been listening to the TDC and wow, there are issues there with our bed tax money that they're trying to figure out how to seal all that together because outside groups do get a large percentage of that money. And so, of course, they do their events. We've hosted huge bass tournaments here, and we wonder, why do they come to Palatka? Well, it's because we pay for everything and then give you a steak dinner, where people like myself are never invited for that steak dinner, but people like you are invited. And so, you're not, well, the illusion is, but what I'm saying is, Whereas I am in favor of the help, especially the city services. Love that, Ms. Cardy, love it. I think we need criteria that is clear and concise before we open this Pandora's box.
Thank you. Thank you. With that said, do we have a motion to adjourn this meeting?
Move. Second.
Now, do we want to take a break before going on to the next or just continue forward? Thank you. Okay, I just want to make sure before I do. Okay.
But before we go into this next meeting, we definitely have to take into consideration our sound technician.
Yeah.
Every meeting we run into issues, and I know that it kind of limits the productivity of how functioning we can be to even, and honestly, that last thing, that's embarrassing.
And as it's also not fair to the community when
That's embarrassing. And even with earlier in the meeting, when I was on the book, I could hear, our chaplain has been overlooked for the last couple of meetings because our sound has not been where it has been. So it's nothing on him because he's been here, but he has expressed those sentiments multiple times, but we definitely have to get it. I don't know if we need to bring somebody in, but every meeting we've had has experienced some technical difficulties.
Can I suggest training?
one at a time, one at a time.
The meeting's adjourned. Should the
Yes.
recording be stopped?
Yes. Well, we can't discuss anything then. We can't.
I just want to give her direction because.
So as long as this body is going to talk to each other, we adjourn, but then we can have no conversation until the next meeting.
We're
So
not voting on anything.
No, we,
You can't.
sunshine. Thank you, Commissioner Palacia.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Call this meeting to order. We're here for the City Commission General Fund budget meeting, workshop, I should say. Invocation. Could you please help us out again, Pastor Canty? And then the Pledge of Allegiance led by Commissioner Bora.
Good evening once again. Let us bow our heads. Dear Heavenly Father, we are so gracious for all that you do and allowing us to be here this day to gather together, to come and Lord hear and to see what may be appropriate for each and every one that is seeking. Father God, we thank you, Lord, for blessing this place and the people, God, that serve this community. We thank you. In Jesus' mighty name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Please join me in the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Davis, Commissioner Borum,
Present.
Commissioner Jones,
Here.
Commissioner Campbell,
Present.
Mayor Carrera.
Present. I am going to open the floor up to public comments for anything not specifically on the agenda. Is there anybody here for public comment?
Madam Mayor, we
Yes.
simply need to make a correction to the agenda. This is improperly labeled as the city commission meeting. It is not. It is a city commission
I said
workshop.
but
So
yeah.
we need the record to
Okay.
reflect that for
Okay.
purposes of no vote.
1 second. So I'm going to close public comment and then we need to make a motion to make that correction, please.
I'd like to make a motion to correct the title of the meeting to city city commission budget meeting as city commission budget workshop as opposed to commission meeting.
A second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right.
Opposition? Thank you. On to, let's see, presentations, Palatka Christian Service Center grant proposal.
Yes. This is one of the nonprofit organizations that did not get an opportunity to come before and they just like to have 3 to 5 minutes.
Thank you. Please come on up. Give us your name, please, for the record.
Beverly Canty, 2015 Maplewood Drive, Palatka. Once again, good evening and thank you all for allowing us this opportunity to come before you and give a brief presentation of the Heart of Putnam Palatka Christian Service Center in response to wanting to apply for city funding to help our center. I would like to just start off with a brief of our mission. And our mission is giving a hand up and not a hand out. Serving the needs of our neighbors in Putnam County with dignity, love, faith, and pride. A little history about the Heart of Putnam Palatka Christian Service Center. It was organized in 1992 by the Greater Palatka Ministerial Association, now celebrating over 30 years of service to the community. We should have had one before that, but okay, yes. Where we just talked about giving a hand up. Thank you.
Yes, we do.
Yes, we'll get to that, but you didn't have the history. I was just giving a brief history of it. To where we have celebrated over 30 years of service to the community. We was once located on 820 Reed Street in May 2007. And then it formed the Heart of Putnam Service Center, which it was supposed to be a one-stop service center for those that are in need. And now we are located at 2600 Peter Street, where we presently reside. And and had to move there due to the decline in donations. If we could go back to, yes, the presentation of the funding, we are here and requesting $20,000. We know that the city has a very limited budget, and 20,000 may sound like a lot, but I want to just take an opportunity to explain to you. We service many things at the heart of Putnam. When we say the heart of Putnam, we service things anywhere from utility bills to rental assistance to just very small needs, as someone needing to maybe get a bus ticket, someone that may need medicine, someone that may need eye exams. We vet for the Cancer City. But the most important thing that we do is utility services. And this is a year to date from January. We thought it would be more appropriate to give a right now service as what we are providing. And this year, the reason why we are requesting, because the utilities have skyrocketed unbelievably. And so we are seeing there is no more rarely 200, 300. We're talking 600, 700, all the way up to $2,000. And we're talking about some people, utility bills being as high for 1 month. It's not because they're behind, even though we only help with past due bill, but some of their bills are like $1,400 for 1 month. And so therefore, when we have a cap, it used to be that we try to help with that cap of being $400. Then we moved it up to $500. And so therefore, with that, it's not going to even touch someone lights not being turned off. And even though we cannot provide that type of assistance, we still work with them to do everything we can to find any type of resource that we can find to ensure that these people keep their light services going. Now, we do have where we try to work with them and counsel them with sustainability, with maintaining. What are you going to do? We need to know income is coming in, because what are you going to do with the next bill? And so when we have people with these highlight bills, and we do, I'm sorry, may I continue?
Yes, we try to be quick,
Okay.
but yeah.
Yes, I will. So we provided this up here. When we work with these people, we come together and we ask, what can you do? What can you put with this? That's that hand up. And then we work out, reaching out to other resources, churches, and even a lot of times we go in our own pockets. We are just volunteers there. We do not get paid. We only have one paid staff there, and that is the director. And so if we could go to the next, just to show the other services that we provide, which I said the rent and the housing. We also provide intake for food stamp, because we have many elderly people who do not have access to computers. So we have someone there. We also gives out gift cards, and that covers, and gas cards, covering gas, food, lodgings, IDs for the homeless, because they don't have that medicine and health. And so therefore, we continually seeing a rise of these expenditures. And so therefore, the numbers were there, and this is only till August, and we're not even through the year. And we have serviced 96 people just in utilities alone. And so therefore, we also, as I end, we also provide many other things. We help with disaster services. We reach out and send when we hear about the various disasters. We also export whatever we have to be of service and need to these people. We also vet for the Cancer Center. So therefore, I would appreciate if you all would consider us and remember us. And even though we have been a center that have been in the shadow, this is our second time coming before you all. All of these other years, we have not come before you to ask for assistance. And so we are asking for your help for this next fiscal year. Thank you.
Thank you.
I just have one quick question.
Go ahead.
Pastor Canty, do you have the data of out of those numbers, how many of those citizens are actually citizens of the city of Palatka?
We do have it, but we are our computer system. We are tied in with HMIS system that keeps all that data for us, and they are transitioning to new and updated equipment. We will not have access to it until, if I'm not mistaken, it's September the 15th while they go through that transition. But we are connected to where we do have the data to be able to pull
Okay.
all of the city
I
of
was
Palatka.
just,
Great.
I was,
That would be helpful to have him.
Yes, all right, thank you.
thank you.
Thank you. On to discussion 2025-2026 operational capital grant debt servicing and transfers reimbursements reserves.
Could I ask a question?
You could.
It was kind of letting.
I'm sorry. I did.
So how much money do we have budgeted for those kind of,
Nonprofit.
Initially, we had 50,000 there, and I think the last meeting, someone said lower it to 30,000, but we did have a pool there for 50,000. That was the original plan
was that?
for aid to nonprofit organizations. It's in your, budget. So it was there.
So
Go
may I
ahead.
ask, so when we had the presentations before
Mm-hmm,
and they were vetted and recommendations were made,
mm-hmm.
were all of those dollars allocated, I guess? I don't remember. I remember the sheet. Or am I mixing something, two
It
things?
wasn't. It was
Am
like
I-
20
yeah.
something $1,000 that had not been allocated.
That's right.
Okay.
All of the funds. are
So
not
this is
allocated.
part of that process.
Yes,
And we're just
it
getting a
is.
presentation. I just want to make
Correct.
sure.
I think they were.
But going back to Commissioner Jones's question, how much is allocated in total?
I would have to come back. We'd have to come back with that. I don't know it by heart.
Why would we have to come back when the initial budget?
No, I'm just saying, I don't know the amount.
It was 50,000 that was originally budgeted.
Right.
In the last conversation that we had,
I see.
I thought that the conversation was, I don't remember us cutting in that area because there was a meeting with another organization that just had happened that day, which would have taken in consideration taking the amount up. So I don't want to say, that's why I looked like I was a tad bit confused because I don't remember saying
You have no.
cut from.
I have the report. It says, please note the budget for nonprofit allocation is $50,000.
Right.
Right.
And at this, right now, the recommended on the last report from Ms. Pierre is 30,000.
But in the meantime, as far as the pool, that was put as a separate line item, correct, for Calvary?
That's true.
So that's
right. We did
pulled out
put,
of that.
that's
That's
correct.
in the
Good
budget.
point. Yeah, we pulled out
So it
35,000.
still should be 20,000.
That-
Correct. So it's actually a little more. Right.
Right. That was my point. So, you know.
Right, because initially, you're right, that 35,000 was included in that 50,000. And then as we kept
Having
developing,
discussion.
we
it's a
pulled
separate
out
line item.
35,000 for pool services. And then, so now what there's 30,000 in aids to nonprofit organizations. However, you know, we're still in budget, so whatever guidance you give us,
Yeah.
that's what we're gonna do.
And those were the dollars that I think they requested on, but we just have not confirmed it with a vote or say, okay, well, how about reallocating or adding more or less or whatever. We haven't, it was just a
Yeah,
it was
just a
a templated kind of
Right.
allotment.
And so would you all like us to at least put it back to that 50,000?
Because the example is there was one organization that asked, I think, for 3,000, I think they got
Right.
6,000, so it's just a double. So that's why I say, we haven't actually voted on
We
some of
haven't.
the pre-templated things. So.
Vote on the budget, yeah.
Right.
Right.
So we already allocated? That's what we're hearing.
No, that was a,
Somebody already got money.
that was, no, that was just a pre-templated thing that they requested, they made requests, and I think the finance director and I guess the city manager had put something together based on what was submitted and
Right.
then presented that, so that's what.
Because this is a proposed.
Right,
budget,
it's just
so
a
anything
proposed.
else in here is a
Okay.
proposal, it's not.
It's still working, guys.
Yeah.
It's still working.
Right.
Okay, go, can we,
Promise.
okay, go ahead, yeah.
You're free to do what you
I'm
think.
free
you
to
do.
Okay, so on the first page, it's an overview of the balanced budget. We have our personnel expenses, 21% of the total. It's at 17.6 million. Our operational expenses, 13%. That's 11.5 million. The capital expenditures and outlay, that's 19% of the budget, and that's 16.5 million. The grant expenditures is almost a third, 29% of the budget, and that's 24.9 million. Debt servicing expenditures at 3% of the budget for 2.1 million. And our transfers, reimbursements, and reserves is 15% of the budget, and that's 12.7 million. And just to give you an idea of the major things that were changed in order to balance the budget was the capital outlay for fire. And it was originally 3,028,000. So for this version of the budget, that amount was changed to 200. Yes, sir.
Oh. We're gonna go in order, cause you can confuse me.
We can
I
go-
tell you right now, you going to fire,
Okay.
but I would like to kind of like go line page by page, if that's okay with everybody.
Okay, we'll start with page
I'm a little
one.
confused.
Yes, sir.
We
We can-
going to fire.
Okay, sorry. So we can
So
look at
as we
page.
go through the pages.
Yes, sir.
You could tell us what was the major changes at that time per page. Would that mess you up or not?
You could do it.
Okay,
Cause I think I have some questions as well.
absolutely.
Okay. Thank you.
So, page one, I don't have major changes for on page one, except for account 001-01-511-3-4022. That's your schooling / conference mayor. All of those categories were reduced at your direction by $2,500 each. And those are on that page, and also the special events for it's 001-01-511-3-4903.
Yeah, that's when I
That
was
one. Oh, sorry.
on Zoom. So was that was 50%, that was cut by 50% because it was 10,000. If we agree to cut that, we didn't discuss that.
This was on the last proposed budget too, to have it reduced to 5,000. That wasn't something we said one way or the other.
Yeah, but we didn't have a full discussion because I know I couldn't even hear.
That was not the conversation. The conversation was because we didn't have it. It came to us as that recommendation
saying.
because I made the comment that it was already cut without us giving consent.
So I don't think we all consented to that. But
Could you clarify which account number are you referring to?
special events and projects, the mayor and all the council.
So it's 4901 right through 2906 on the first page.
Okay, so you want that to go back to,
Well, I think we need to, because we were also gonna have that other account where we were going to have, so, because I'm a little bit confused with the CRA where we were talking about the program to give additional funding for events that would offset city costs for the group organization putting that on. We also
That's
talked
great.
though about having this pool of money in the general fund to give out funds to people too for events. And so
Right.
I'm confused, are we
So-
overlapping?
Okay, so I know what you're talking about. The part that I believe under cut right with community affairs and
Yes.
stuff like that.
Yes.
So we are doing something called special events festivals. And we have money sitting there. I think there's a pool there of about 50 to 60,000 there. But in the commission area, I don't think that we touched, I don't think we touched the special events areas since that last draft.
We
So,
didn't, so when you came in with the proposed draft the last time, from last year, you came in the proposed draft going from 10 to 5.
right,
But we didn't cut it any further.
I didn't
That
touch
was,
it
that
down
was
there.
what you projected proposed initially. Go ahead.
The only thing that got cut was up top where it says that special, the schooling conference.
Yeah, we know that one. yeah,
Right,
for
that's
sure.
the only,
We all agreed to that.
right, nothing else.
I didn't,
Ma-
Well, you were here.
but with the special events, I was on the line. The special events and projects, those are initiatives that each commissioner have. So
Right.
whether it's for breast cancer awareness, whether
Right.
it's for the Girl Scouts, whether it's for the whatever, our initiative, we actually supported those things. And it was, you could do more than one. So I remember vividly that Ex-Mayor Hill fought for us to get that up to the 10,000 because we were
Okay.
trying to be good community partners as far as us as commissioners going out. It wasn't a campaign thing, but it was something that we go out and we actually contribute to these causes. And I mean, we got it up to the 10,000. To slash it by 50%. I think there's some areas of opportunity elsewhere that we could slash before we go there. And I mean, immediately you guys go in the box and just slash those about 50%. I think as we take a deeper dive, we'll find some other areas that we could recoup with the rate those at $20,000.
So, Commissioner, are you basically saying for that special events and projects line that uniformly for the commissioners, that should be 10,000 each?
As you can see, that's
Is that what you're saying?
9,000, yes, prior.
Yes, I'm gonna go print one for me.
Find the community affairs budget. Go ahead.
I have a general question. This draft 5, does it, as it's presented, and we'll review it, does it fall in line with revenues generating from a lower millage rate? Or did you align this with 7? Did you align it with current?
we aligned it with 6.4.
Which is the current?
Which is the current.
Thank you. And thank you. So the statement I want to make is I'd like to see us put a star by some of these items that are coming up. And as we go through, I'd like to revisit. One of the reasons I made the motion to set the tentative mill rate at 7 was because, one, it was recommended by staff, but they were given the direction to make it fit into the lower mill rate, the current mill rate. To that point, in order for us to do that, I think we're gonna have to make some cuts somewhere. So before we do that, I want to make sure that we are not cutting any required services. And then I'd like to look last at some of these areas that are that would not have a negative impact on our community for safety or infrastructure or any of those things. The other thing I'd like to say is that, and I mentioned this, I believe I mentioned this in a previous meeting, is that with community affairs and events that are occurring, I want to make sure that we are not duplicating efforts for something the city is doing, and that we understand clearly what the parameters are for commissioners to have these special events and projects, because I've never received that as a new commissioner, so I have no idea what's allowable. Thank you. Excuse my voice. But
Should we proceed to the next page or any other comments regarding the first page?
So put asterisks, what you saying, put asterisks, on that, those line items.
I think so, and so we can see where other opportunities.
Yes, please continue.
Okay. On the second page, the very first account number at the top, Citizens Transportation, was reduced to 0. It was originally 25,000. And that was, I believe, at your direction.
But that was because the state appropriated money to the county that is now going to cover those routes and continue those routes. That is why we pulled out the city funding, because it's now in the hands of the county to provide that funding to Ride Solutions for the city routes as well as other parts of the county. Yes.
Okay. Okay, 5287, which is the nonprofit organization assistance. That was reduced from 50,000 to 30,000. I know we just had a discussion about that. That if I heard correctly, the 20,000 was allocated to Calvary.
35 actually, and it's
30.
on page 25 for pool services. If you look at on page 25, you can see there's a $35,000 line item for pool services. No, this is a proposal. It's not that we did that. So I'm just saying that's where
Okay.
I saw that some of that money moved. That's all. I found it in the budget. I'm just reading the budget.
Right, if I may,
Go
ma'am,
ahead.
on that particular one, I had also given funding for the swimming program.
Mhm.
So I think collectively, I think it needs to be the 35 as opposed to what was contributed last year.
Okay.
And then this, so I think we can probably reduce it down to whatever to make it the 35 as opposed to it'll be 39 something or 30, almost 39 something, 3,900, 39,000 something.
You're referring to the pool services? Or the-
Yeah,
Page 25.
it was for the, it's part of the swimming program, and so that's what I just said, the swimming program. And so I donated funding last year for the swimming program.
So they had a swimming program last year?
No. This was all for getting the pool to where it need to be in order for people to be able to utilize the pool.
See, that's, I think where,
That's where.
Ms. Davis is going.
That's why I'm coming, that's why I'm bringing forth this instead of sitting on it.
Yeah, go
Right,
ahead.
that's
Sorry.
why I'm bringing that forth instead of sitting on that, because again, I want to be transparent with all of this stuff so that we're not really just, so they requesting the 35, so let's make that to be the 35, whatever make up that difference of what I contributed last year.
What's the account number?
I'll have to look at what.
Well, we're on page 25 is where I found the line item added, account number 5290. Go to page 25. It says pool services, and when I was looking this over, that's where I found it.
Yes, we could.
Page 25. It's the
No.
last item.
I'm still trying to get to the point of who made this request to transfer.
The money for the pool services or the cut in which money, which pool?
Who made the decision to nix 20,000 out of something that we already had extensive conversation on with regards to our organizations. That conversation started long before even the budget process.
Okay, so what I'm hearing, you're referring to the nonprofit organization assistance that was originally for 50,000, that was reduced by 20,000 and is now at 30,000. So you would like to see that back to the 50,000. And first you want to know who,
I think the question is, how did we get from 50 to 20?
okay. I am not sure. I thought I heard earlier that there was 20,000 that was allocated to a particular nonprofit organization. I
Well,
heard
none of this
Calvary.
is finalized, but I mean, then on
Okay.
the other stuff, again, I think the question is, yeah.
I think there's some confusion as to regards to, in the last meeting, when we talked about making cuts as other departments made cut, that was what Commissioner Davis had brought up. So there were opportunities where bit the bullet, and I said, I'm willing to take in consideration what Commissioner Davis stated. That's why our travel, even though as a commission, we do travel, we do come and we bring stuff back. We took it from there. We never once had the conversation with minimizing the amount that was associated with our civic or our nonprofit organizations. Only thing that we had regarding that was Commissioner Borum made sure or wanted to implement at that time, I want to say a rotation, so that they won't be able to benefit from it every year. I want to say a 2-year time frame or 3-year time frame. So those were the only conversations that we really had when it came down to the organization standpoint. That's why a lot of us were looking confused today, and it's not you. So I don't want you to, when they said that it was downgraded, because we all assumed, for the most part, that there was still $20,000 that was out there, which made sense when the Christian services came, that, hey, there's money still out there based on the conversation or direction that we have given. So even in the event that Mayor has stated that nothing has been officially allocated, but there has been a recommendation, and based on that recommendation, there was still a $20,000 out there for consideration of other organizations that have come or could come forward. So to me, when Christian Services came up here, I'm listening because there is an opportunity for us to help. But based on what has been allocated, what has been taken away, even if we went with the recommendation of staff, there's no funding there.
Oh,
Go ahead.
For the nonprofits, didn't we identify or approve a period of time they could come and make the request? So in this report we received from our finance director, does say that the allocation was 50,000 and the recommended allocations based on the presentations we had was $30,000, right? So what we heard tonight, is that outside of our guidelines? That's question one. And number two, was a decision made, or I guess it's a recommendation since it's in here from either the city manager or the finance director, that you would decrease it to 30,000 because that's right now all of the recommended allocations based on the presentations we have for this cycle?
I'll probably be the better person to respond. I think that there were two factors happening here. One, initially, we had the 50,000 there, and then in our minds, the 50,000 was also including a contribution towards another request for 35,000. Once we figured that we were gonna move that 35,000 to a separate line. Go.
Ms. Carter, so we don't have to backtrack too
Okay.
much. I'm not aware of a contribution request for $35,000.
Calvary.
Oh, it was
Yeah.
35,000 for the,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, it was in-
So if that's the case, because when I'm looking at the recommended allocations, I see Family Life Center for 10,000. in the recommendations. I'm looking, you know what.
Yeah.
That was presented. This is the
Right.
recommendation. That's all I saw. So I assumed this was the recommendation that the other was not. So I do want to I want to be very transparent in our conversations, please.
Okay,
So
so it
we
was
can move
50.
forward.
Yeah, it was
So-
50,000. And maybe it's me misunderstanding, okay, I'll take it like that. That I misunderstood and thought that if we had moved 35,000 to a separate line, that in actuality, we were giving more money. We were giving 30 up top and 35 below. So it's me with the mistake. And it's not a problem. It's another line called Pool Services that is also a nonprofit organization that is in that list way back then. And since that time, other things have occurred. So when that was prepared, that was when they came and made their presentation. Their paperwork requested 35. I was simply saying, no, not 35, only 10. But, subsequent to that, they then explained the 35 for the pool service, and that became another way of working with the budget and with them. So then so we can still put it to 50,000. That maybe this is just me misunderstanding
Okay.
and trying to
So,
put them up.
but I see the 35,000 recommended in this iteration, plus the 10 for $45,000.
No, just the 35.
No.
Oh, so you're saying
just
the 10 went away?
Yeah, it would.
So if that's the case, then out of this recommendation we received, then we've really only recommending $20,000 and there's 10,000 left over here.
Mhm.
Correct. So that will cover the costing lifestyle.
Yeah, no, understand, but.
But this is the budgeting workshop, so whatever guidance that you all give us, that's what we're gonna follow. Yes, please. So I think I understand that you would like this amount to be 50.
Well, if we're covering all our requests, I don't know that we need to up that, but I think, again, we haven't made this decision yet.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I just want to make sure we are following our established guidelines.
We will.
Was there a date by which all organizations had to request funds?
Yes, ma'am, there
So,
was.
and under
And this is
what,
beyond- this is
under
beyond the-
what direction then did we even consider this to be on the agenda? And the answer was not that. The request period has ended.
Thank you.
But from the conversation.
Just curious.
Opportunity to present.
Right, so since there was still funds there. But the commissioner is correct. There was an actual date given for the nonprofits to come in.
Did you hear from this nonprofit prior to, and they just couldn't be there that date and were
I was
coming
pretty
later?
sure I will go back
Miss-
in my
You gotta,
records.
you gotta give.
I'd rather go back in the records and be
If
sure.
that's the answer, then that's the answer. But I do not want us to go outside of guidelines that we establish.
Yes, ma'am. And I will go back and be sure.
Thank you. Ms. I'm sorry, go ahead, Commissioner Barr, I'm sorry.
While we have the city manager here, when we talked about this before, because again, we, like Commissioner Davis mentioned, the 10,000 that was going to the same entity. I had also given 4,000 something for the pools swimming services for last year.
Yeah.
And so I think we can reduce that amount so it will cover the needs that they originally requested.
Yes, sir.
And so
You're
we
saying
it can
deduct it from the 35?
correct, reduce the portion that was given last year,
Mm-hmm,
reduce that from the 35 and scratch the 10.
okay.
No, well, it's gonna be 35, because we're trying to, the pool, they requested 35,000 to get the pool up and going. So I don't know if that's working out. I think we need to communicate with the agency to
Mhm.
say, hey, here's what the request was. Here's what the city has already given, and here's what collectively we're doing to help fund the request that was made.
Go ahead, Commissioner Davis.
I wanna. First, I'm gonna make this statement, and I know we all know this. But all of the revenues we're talking about come from our citizens. Pretty much. I know we get some grants, but we have to be fiscally responsible. At the end of the day, whether the budget item is allocated, for example, this pool services line item of $35,000. And as Commissioner Borum is recommending that, and I'm assuming, let me ask, are you talking about $5,000 from?
For the
From our individual.
Correct. But I want to make sure we understand, we're saying we is still all city money.
Mhm.
And again, that's one of the issues I have, not knowing guidelines about what we can and cannot do with funds allocated for individual commissioners and the mayor. The request was for $35,000 from the city from this point forward. Now, when you're saying you allocated for, you gave this from this current year, from
The one we're
2024.
in now,
No, it was, yeah, with the current.
the one we're currently in now.
Yeah, we haven't gotten to the
No,
next.
that was expended from
October.
the leftover fund from 23, 24.
Okay.
Yeah.
Previous year.
24. Not, this is 24.
Right.
I'm gonna say this, because maybe that, so when I look at the line item and I see $15,000, some people 16,000, because money's carrying over and added to what's allocated for that year. Is that how those numbers come about? And why you're saying the money that's, I'm trying,
Yeah, the answer is yes.
can we talk about some accounting practices here? Okay. So the money is cumulative, the budget dollars are cumulative?
Not in every case, hardly, no. I mean, no.
I just
mean,
want to know what the
every
standard
year- every
accounting
year's
principle
treated
is on that.
differently. Every year is different.
Ms. Pierre, or somebody, what do you mean every year is different? I'm
Budget,
sorry.
the budget.
No. So if I had $5,000 allocated for me for this current year and I don't use this money, and let's say we use this and then we get 5,000 allocated in the upcoming year. The 5,000 from this year is gonna roll over and next year I have 10,000?
And so let me ask a question, please. Are you specifically referring to special events and projects for the
Yes.
commissioners? So I think for the past 2 years, I think that something like that was being done. I do remember last year specifically, and I think the year before, that whatever was not spent, that it did roll over, and I'm pretty sure that did happen.
So you asked, was I talking about a specific line item?
Mhm.
Is that not a general procedure? Or are some line items rolled over and some are not?
Well, that was, I'm gonna be candid in
Please.
saying that specific case, the administration at that time felt that that's where they were. And so, I remember that whatever was unspent from the prior year, it did add on to whatever the standard amount was for that year. And then it could have been 10,000. So whatever was not spent at that time, then it would add to that 10. I think I saw that done twice.
If I could just
Please,
comment,
please.
just
So remember,
reference-
my question was standard accounting principles.
Yes, we call them generally accepted accounting procedures, AKA GAAP. And the standard procedure is that an expenditure, which is what we're referring to, those line items are not carry forward. We usually just carry forward capital, what we call capital outlay, those assets that are that last 1 year or greater, like a building, land, plant, different things that we purchase. But in this case, if we want to follow GAAP, generally accepted accounting procedures, then we would not be carrying forward any expenditure line items.
And so this year I took a different approach. And instead I did an amount, not carrying.
It's okay. So the reason, again, my premise is not about, I'm for some things, not against some things, and some things I am for, and some things I'm against. What I'm looking for is for this city to be consistent with our budgeting. I think, I'm recommending we follow GAAP,
Yes, the best practice.
the best practice, which are generally acceptable accounting procedures. And one of the things I've heard loudly and clearly, because I was drugged a little bit and I'm okay with it because I knew how to answer the question, was never my intent to have a mill rate of 7, right? It was always to have the current, or ideally to be able to use the
Trim.
trim. I guess just want to say, I want us to make sure that we are being fiscally responsible and understanding that if we want to make sure our citizens' taxes are not increased, we have to do the right thing with this budget allocation and make sure we put the money in places that first take care of our citizens' safety. Secondly, infrastructure and, all the things that we need to prioritize and go in order. There's ideal and then there's reality. And that's where I'm coming from. I just want you to know where I'm coming from with this. So thank you.
Commissioner Campbell? Well, Commissioner Jones first. Okay, go ahead, Commissioner Jones.
First, the gap that we should be using. I remember we went over this last year, budget cycle, and we asked the attorney about the legalities and of how we spend that money. And you outlined how we could spend that money as far as charitable organizations or what have you. You gave us guidelines for that. You remember that? Okay, so we do have that. Secondly, I'm just kind of wondering, why didn't the audit reveal that money in those line items if that wasn't a general accepted practice of accounting? So yes.
Okay.
That's important to know because I just saw where they just arrested the clerk in Quincy, Florida, over stuff like this. Okay. It was just on the news. Wow. And, the lack of knowledge, our people will perish. We don't know when we're relying on subject matter experts to carry us through this. And I'm really serious at this point. We're talking about the budget. I would love to see us utilize a pool, but I'm kind of leery of just a line item and say pool services. Pool services, what that mean? We don't have a pool. We don't own a pool. Do we also take liability when we start contracting out with pool services? What are we getting for pool services? How did that contract look? So I'm not being honest with you without knowing exactly what we supposed to be getting and what this trade-off is. I think it's more explanation need to be given to us as a governing board before we go do stuff like that. So we 35,000, 30,000, that's a lot of money. We've been down this road before and it didn't end where we just said, okay, yeah, we'll write the check. So we need to know these things. And I'm telling you right now, at this point, I'm going to ask a whole lot more questions than I've been asking, especially when it comes to these funds. So just to let you know that.
Commissioner Campbell?
I echo what Commissioner Jones has stated, and I know even last time, and Ms. Kitchens probably will be satisfied that I brought this back to the attention of the commission. Funding could not even be given to the organization based on the status of what they have or what they are. So to have funds reallocated to something like that, I don't want to put us in a position why I have nothing against the organization and the concept, but I think in order for us to stay consistent to what it is that we have discovered, there has been money set aside for the possibilities of funding the pool, which I'm all for. I think it's a wonderful idea. I think we should explore. But the reason we had to pump the brakes and we hit a brick wall was because of the standing of the organization and it not being a actual nonprofit organization.
And if I may comment, like currently staff is in the process also of confirming the status of the entity. And in several ways, not just legally, but also even visiting the pools to see if the pool is actually operational. So we're in that investigative mode ourselves. But I was just honoring whatever I hear in the budget workshop. And so on page 25, since we just spoke about the pool services, we can redirect those funds to a more.
And that makes the whole argument more when it comes down to having that money allocated where it originally was. And I know that we did put the time certain, but a request for that organization is already there. And so if that money was allocated or there's a possibility, even though they asked for the specific amount, I'm a little bit interested in knowing how did we have or how did we get to that additional request? Did it fall within that time frame of the guidelines that Commissioner Davis spoke of? And then if that is not the case, they're in the same position as the Christian Service Center. If we don't, you get what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
again, I want us to be fair. I want us to be consistent. I want us to operate in complete transparency. But then again, the organization was limited before based on the status of what they were at the time. If that has changed, kudos,
So
let's
we're trying
move
to
forward
find
if we
out.
can. But it shouldn't take that long to find out though.
We've already met with them.
So what I'm getting or what I'm trying to say is these are the only time we can have a conversation.
Okay.
So when we want to have, when we're trying to get things, I get it, staff has already met. Tell us what y'all met, what in the
So what have we
conversation, so
found
we'll
out
know,
so
so we
far?
can make an informed decision.
Right, because thank you. I'm not certain if Public Works have had a chance to get to the pool yet.
But
Not yet,
question
but
I
is-
think
we,
the question is, do they have nonprofit status or not?
okay,
That's, I think, the question, and that's the
Yes,
question number one.
right, and I did
Not
ask her
beginning.
to meet with our attorney, so that meeting did take place, so I'm not certain how far that got yet. Go ahead.
Ms. Cardy asked me to meet with Miss Lolita Thomas. I have not been able to see any documentary evidence that they have established a nonprofit entity that would differentiate this decision-making from the last time. We're still at that spot. Nevertheless, I was tasked with drafting a MOU to provide them with $35,000, where they would basically invoice the city $2,900 every month. She said that they would be able to provide the pool to be open 3 days a week from the hours of 8 AM to noon, and then again from 5 to 7 PM. She was researching whether or not there was going to be a requirement from the Department of Health to have a lifeguard on duty.
Yes.
And that's where things stand right now, but I still have not seen any evidence that they have a nonprofit organization. I believe, Ms. Carter, you said that they did.
Only
I'm
because
still
she
waiting
said
on-
it, so I asked her to bring the information, meet with staff, so that's where we are. But in the meantime, for budgeting purposes, I just put it there because I heard that spoken about in the meetings, but we can put it right back up where it was, the 50,000 was up here. And we can just put the 50,000 back in the nonprofit organization assistance where we initially had it.
And to wrap up my statement, and I'll be done with it completely. The reason I'm bringing it up is because I don't want us to fall victim to our own wrongdoing. And allocating or having in a budget, it automatically gives the assumption that the city is operating in a capacity, doing something that could possibly come back to bite us as a legislative body and to staff. So that's
Okay.
the reason I brought it up. Not again to say I'm against the organization, because I'm not. I know the benefits of what that pool could do, but I don't want us to be in the practice of what appears to be or could appear to be doing some unjust work, or just it does the very appearance of evil, as the Bible said, it gives that off. So I just want to make sure that we're clear in our doings.
Thank you.
Thank you. Would you, Ms. Kitchens would like to come up, and first we have Ms. Commissioner Borum.
Well,
Go ahead.
well, my whole push was to help get the, help with the pool, because again, they came in 22 and requested some assistance in that regard. So thought during that time period, I thought they was working on MOUs during that time. So the request to the city manager was also to make sure that they had an MOU before we even considered that. And so again, like when the funding was available and the proposed allocation, I was thinking that everything was in play. And so again, but we've had what has happened over on the north side area where they had Lefty Turner pool, park over there, where they had a pool that got covered over. They had a pool at the Ravine Gardens that in disrepair can't use. We have a pool that is over at Westover that's way on the I look at my directions near south, yes, the south area, the Westover Drive. And we got also the golf course pool that sits on the city's property that no one else can use. And so I gotta get some better understanding around that. But here's what we got. We need to just, if they could get the nonprofit status, the MOU, let's just make that right, and so that we can try and help with at least providing assistance where it's needed with the pool at least.
Commissioner Jones.
We got a bigger problem, Commissioner Boyle. Where did your $4,000 go last year? That is a issue. Because if your money went to this pool, that the pool's not open, nobody from the city had services to it, that's a question that need to be answered tonight.
Well, the specific thing that I put on the request, that it was specifically for pool operation for city citizens to be able to utilize. I made clear to the organization, and I put that in the memo for pool services.
And was there any follow-up to see those funds, how they actually were used, and if there's documentation to substantiate they were used in that fashion?
The pool is not operational at this time, and I would check to see, if what they've done so far, but they have been working toward getting the pool up and going. I don't know the full detail and scope, but again, that's what the intention was, the ending memo, the write-up. So that's my
Thank you. Ms. Kitchens would like to come up, excuse me, Ms. P. Just flip your thing.
Thank you,
Upside-
Commissioner Campbell, for bringing that up. You're partially correct. In fact, you're about 99% correct, and so is Commissioner Jones. What actually happened, the Family Life Center came and asked the city about 3 years ago, 2 or 3 years ago. Don Holmes was at that time the city manager. He'd been the city attorney. They came and asked the city for $55,000 to bring their pool into operation because it had problems. And they said it would be open for the whole community, all of Putnam County, everybody, yada, yada, yada. And the city wants a pool, so that would work out. When they came back to get the information, Mr. Holmes in the meantime had found out that they had an unrecorded agreement with Colin Bingham, who probably with Beck Sloan Properties. He was buying or has bought the property adjoining their Family Life Center. He showed their pool as being the center of their entertainment center for his project. They lied to the city. They did not tell their congregation what was going on. And the preacher stood up there and said it was for everybody and it was for the pool and all that kind of stuff. Mr. Holmes blew it out of the water by saying there was an unrecorded agreement. Members of the congregation were present. I think James Norwood was one of them. I'm not sure. The congregation was furious. They had not been consulted about anything. So before you allocate money, you need to find out. And yes, I'm sure they told Ms. McCarty they were a nonprofit. They told the city that they were going to use the money for the pool to open a public pool for all of Putnam County, when indeed they were in private canoodling with a developer, and that was going to be his recreation center for his development. So you all need to think very carefully before you deal with this entity. The church is good, the pool is good, the organization is good, but there's something in there that is rotten. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion so that Ms. Pierre can move forward? Up, yes, thank you. Ms. Pierre, come back up so we can keep going.
We just covered page 1, so.
I know, we haven't made much progress, but go ahead.
So
We have.
Well,
We've had to have
page
some discussion.
25, we recommend reallocating that $35,000.
Yeah.
Okay. The next significant change is on operating supplies. It's 00102-524. Yes, but let me check.
What about the?
We're still on one.
Looking for the page, hold on. We can, okay, sorry, we can go to page 3. Sorry, we can go to page 3 and I
Three.
have here,
So go to 3.
When you say page 3, I think.
12, I'm sorry, page 12 of 83.
Okay.
I have a change on 001-25-12-1, 1,200 regular salaries. That was originally $158,477. And for the draft, it is $168,441. So that's a $9,965 increase. That's regular salaries.
Regular salary
Down at the bottom.
for the city clerk?
Sorry.
No, we're on page 12 now.
Oh, it's on page 2. Sorry,
Yeah,
page
it's
2.
come at 12 right there.
Okay, okay.
Go to the next page.
Yeah, okay, okay. Yeah, I'm just looking at something.
That's the
Yeah.
procurement manager. Sorry, it is page 2.
Can I just ask a quick question before we go much further? Not to- But on page 2, or page 11, under the city manager's office personnel services, executive salaries, what does that encompass besides the city manager, the public information officer? Whose salaries are under the executive salaries category? And it's, well, page 2 or page 11 of 83, 11 of 83, if you want to use those numbers here. So city manager's office, personnel services.
Okay. We would have to go pull it up.
I just, because it's,
The assistant city manager.
okay, because it's 313,000 change.
I think that has not yet been taken out.
Okay, so that is the assistant city manager and the city manager.
Right,
Correct, okay.
but, our intent was to take that out. The assistant city manager, that was the director.
So how much is that we take? So we could make the changes.
Yes.
So we deduct your salary from it and we can make the changes.
And other benefits too, you got to do the other benefits as well.
I don't know if it's me. I don't know if it's me or what, but it's almost like this document is actually see what you could catch. That's how I feel. Because if we don't fine tooth this, there's gonna be some things that we gonna miss, and guess what? We gonna hear, it was in the budget, y'all approved it. I done heard it before. That song played a couple of years ago. And I don't like the feeling, I'm just telling you. I don't know how the rest of the commission is feeling about this. I know the mayor had some notes. I took some notes, but we're bound to miss something over here that we're gonna approve. I don't think we're gonna mean to approve. But I just want to express my feelings right now on this when we go, well, we meant to take it out, but it wasn't taken out. So before it was presented, I think that those things should have taken place on the administrative side prior to it coming to us up here. So I'm gonna just say about displeasure and disappointment in what's presented here today.
Yeah. Can I just make a comment?
Yes, please.
I will say, we're here to serve. We're here to serve the community. We're here to serve the residents. We're here to serve you. And I hear your request, and I would like to address it as soon as possible. But however, the reality of the situation is that I've come in right in not even in the middle, towards the end of the budget process. And I'm still learning myself. I haven't even been here 60 days. Miss Cardi is stretched in so many different directions. She's having to not just train me, but several other staff members. Okay, she's saying 5 people. We have the PIO, we have myself, we have the grant writer, there's a lot of moving parts to the wonderful city of Palatka. And the timing for all of the new staff, it's not perfect, but we're here. And I know I'm here to serve. I want to help. I want to make sure that this doesn't happen again. And as long as I'm here, this will be organized. I'm making a verbal communication to you this evening that this process will be organized if I'm involved in it, and I will be next year from beginning to end. But I'm coming in at the end, and Miss Cardi is stretched. And okay.
You're making a point.
Okay.
We just cut a position that would allow for Ms. Cardi to focus on her position.
I was gonna say this.
So you're making a point without making a point.
Yeah, that executive director position, I think, is a needed position, and it also comes up when we have this situation, if there's a concern about the city manager, employees have to have somebody else to go to along with HR there's a lot of reasons to fill that position, but certainly to take some of the load off of Ms. Cardi as the city manager.
Which position?
We're talking about the assistant city manager.
But that position
Oh, no.
haven't existed
Yes.
in
It hasn't
50 years.
existed, but we have not been, as a city, when you look at where we have been, where we could be, the position is definitely
That's
a
critical.
vital part of the organization. And it gives the city manager the opportunity to focus on the administration part of her job, or gives the assistant. So just because we didn't have an intern, or we didn't have what did we recommend? A legislative aid, but we see the need for it. So again, when it comes down to having that person that's up under her, she has an executive secretary. She needs someone up under her that would allow her to operate in the capacity where she can. We know she's stretched there, and she's been stretched there. And she just made the point, and it's not a negative thing on you, but you just made the point. If we don't fine tooth this thing, we're cutting out positions that need to be there. We hear it often with our other department, hear it often where they cut personnel, but we know they need the personnel. So if we cut personnel and if we cut personnel on the higher level end, come on, we got to be wise with it. It ain't gonna do nothing to come back before us. That position is needed in more ways than one.
You're preaching the choir. That ain't my point. My point is accurate information. I
Yeah.
rather you have 5 more people when it's presented at this capacity, we need to have accurate information so we can make good sound decisions. Because when it come back, right, when it come down to it, we gonna make the decision and we're gonna have to live with it. Okay, cool, carry on.
Commissioner Borum.
Yeah.
What we really need is that operational audit that'll really help tell the whole thing,
Yeah, I
whole,
think-
whole deal. What as to personnel and everything else, but when you look at the last 6, 8 months, we've had a lot of turnover in the finance and accounting area. We've had, whether it's grants writer, the finance director, the payroll supervisor. We've had other key positions as well with the human resource coordinator. We had I think it was assistant city clerk at one point with Amanda with her position. We had at least 7 or 8 positions within the last 6, 7 months that just constant turnover. So with all of that, yeah, it pulls on Ms. Cardi and other resources as well. But we're gonna have to stabilize some what we got to stabilize. So adding new people don't necessarily mean you're going to be stable. You could be bringing somebody into chaos. So what we really need to do is just take a step back. Ms. Cardi has already determined that that position was not needed because
That's in the budget. So that wasn't.
Ms. Cardi put that in there as a position that could go and several others. And so that's my point. And so that's what we were talking about, where you can recoup the $800,000 that we had identified in order to be able to get to where we need to be to meet the budget and provide all the things that we're trying to push into this budget.
Commissioner Davis.
I'd just like to recommend during this budget workshop that we put the budget item in for an assistant city manager. And as we're continuing to go through, we will see where we already removed 35,000. We'll keep moving. The other thing I want to say is, to Commissioner Jones's point, he's right. I lay out all of these iterations and I'm telling you, I'm back and forth, I'm highlighting, and I've gone through line item by line item, and I'm still, sometimes I'm like, I don't know, I can't keep up. But I know we may not achieve perfection in getting this done. However, I believe we have to continuously review this, and as we find things, bring them up in the meeting and make sure we get them addressed. But I would like to go into this first iteration as we're doing, making sure we're following our policies, procedures, and making these best decisions. So that's all I'm gonna say about that. I can add more, but that's my recommendation, that we put it back in.
Thank you. If you can continue, Ms. Peter, keep going, because we've just begun.
So we're, hey, we were on page 2.
And then we were, before I went backpedaled, we were on 3:12.
We can go to the next page. Page 3. I don't have any major changes on that page, unless you have any questions on page 3. Okay, page 4. I have here professional services, 00122 513 3. Okay, that's on the next page. Okay, so nothing on this page. So page 5, okay, sorry.
Yes, contractual services, I'm under 3,400 at the top, 00121 512. What, under the city clerk, contractual services?
On page
Uh,
five.
On page five, okay.
Oh, page 4.
Page-
Oh, am I
page
in the wrong
4.
place?
No, you're on the right page.
You're at page is 4 and it's.
3,400,
3,400 right
3,400.
there,
Yeah,
and there's 10,000 change.
yeah.
Right.
What's that?
Is it 3,400 or 3,100?
3,400 is the
3,400.
account, the last 4 digits of the account number, and the
Contractual
budget
service.
bill is $10,006, basically.
You're saying page 4.
It's on page 4, third line item down.
14.
13.
13 of 83.
Yeah, or
Okay,
4.
so when you say the numbers.
Okay.
throwing me off,
Oh, I'm sorry.
Because it's
Page 13 of 83, of 83. So, yeah, what are contractual services? What are
It's in the city clerk.
communication services? What are rentals and leases? I'm just curious.
I know
That's
that
under
we,
city
We
clerk's
can
budget.
bring it back.
okay,
don't
we'll
know.
bring it back. Okay,
Okay,
we'll
you
bring
don't
it
know.
back.
I'm assuming rentals and.
Hey, wait a minute.
I mean, we don't know the answer right here like that.
Y'all, if y'all, this is something that, if you can't answer, the person who created the budget should be. Like, I'm a tad bit confused as we get this far along the road, it's in the budget, this has been looked over multiple times. And we
Right.
can't answer the basic question as to what are those services, or what is it that we're alluding to? Ms. Karen, can you answer the question, since it's on your items?
I'm gonna pull it up.
When you
I don't-
fill it up in ADG if you can, then
And-
you can say it.
And while we're doing that also, in terms of printing and binding, is there an opportunity to reduce those costs? That's expensive in 2025 when we have technology. And I know some people like print, but is there an opportunity to reduce those printing and binding costs?
I know for the budget process, even this process, the trim, we have to pay for advertising for the newspaper.
That's one line item. Legal advertising is a separate line item.
Separate line
Are you
item.
referring to printing and binding though?
I'm referring to
Printing and
printing and binding.
4,700
And that's line, yeah, 4,700.
is the account number.
I don't
And there's
have that.
2,500 built into the budget for that this time around.
Like I know I've asked to not receive a binder, but I will get one periodically.
We do use a copy machine, so the cost of the ink for the copy
no.
machine, I'm assuming,
My
but I
my
don't
my
have that.
question, no, I know what it's for. My question is there an opportunity to reduce that? We need to go greener.
And maybe, Madam Clerk, can you answer the, maybe you can help us. with the
Okay,
budget.
so I pulled up the budget, I mean, what I had presented to y'all. So the recording filing fees were 300, and that was a rough estimate. The agenda meeting management was 5,287.59, and the codification services were $4,602.94.
But what is
Is
it
that line item 3,400?
That's for the contractual,
for?
for the city clerk budget. That's on that line that you
Yeah,
all
I
are,
know that.
3,400.
Yeah, what do you contract, who do you contract to?
Contract with
Company,
service,
whatever.
10,000.
That was, yeah, I know, I don't know how that number came out,
Yeah.
but
Well,
like
year to
10,000.
date, it was 9,542.
What is it?
It's for civic.
So it's
clerk and
for civic-
codification and Unicode.
yeah,
Oh,
Okay, I think that's what your question is. What
Muni
is-
code.
yeah, Muni Code Civic Clerk and Civic Plus.
Okay, well, we just need to know what it is, because it's just sitting in there as contractual service, so thank you.
Go ahead, Commissioner Campbell.
Oh, and this, the time tonight, is there an opportunity for us to come back and be able to dive into this? And the only reason I'm asking, we're on page 4.
Yeah, and it's 8:40.
And we're looking to go line by line, which Commissioner Jones, we need to. And if we have to be here tomorrow. I want us to be able to dedicate the time to this and be able to have clear minds, because again, if we had to bounce off, our staff has been here since some 7:65
AM.
o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
And I'm of the proponent of, I understand, because we all have jobs too. I have to be to mine at 7 something in the morning.
Right.
And I'm not trying to sweep this under the rug, but in order for us to truly dive into this the way that we need to dive into this, one, it shouldn't have been on the same day as the CRA budget, which limited because that conversation, but to give this the attention that it needs, because a lot of things now that we're bringing them up in here, I want to go back through this and fine tune. But I also want staff to be in the position that if we have to ask staff, all the questions and answers should not have to come from come from Ms. Pierre.
Right.
That's not fair to her. That's not fair to her, especially given that she's just gotten here. And it's not on you either, but giving them the fair advantage, giving them the advantage of making sure that if we're able to throw out a question, that they're able to provide us with the answer of which we need. So I want us to take in consideration reconvening, if we can fit it in, doing it at a time that would allow us to extend it, if we need to. If we would have had this conversation before the CRA, I believe that it would have been better serving because it would have been a little bit more of a fresh mind. As I'm looking out in the audience, I see tired because I'm tired, and I want to be fair to our staff and give them the ability to let us reconvene, because again, we've been at this for quite some time and we're on page 4.
And today is the 27th of the month, and tomorrow we have a commission meeting,
On the 28th,
and then we're at the end of the month,
yeah.
because the weekend is 31st.
We
So-
we have several options. I mean, an option, just throwing it out. Maybe, can we come at 4 o'clock tomorrow, or is that impossible?
I want us to give this the dedication that it
Oh,
needs.
so then what about Friday or Monday, next week, Monday or Tuesday?
It's more
Next
feasible to me
Tuesday?
than-
It's a holiday.
Monday's a
What
holiday,
about
it
next
starts Labor Day.
Tuesday? Next Tuesday? No, but that's nothing compared to this. That's at 4 o'clock in the day and most of the commissioners are not here. So, but Tuesday would work if that's okay.
Let's see.
Is Tuesday okay?
I'm willing to do what we have to do. I just want,
I'm willing to do what we have to do too. I'm just making sure that, Tuesday.
And we could continue.
I can do
go-
Tuesday. I don't
Yeah,
know about
line by
everybody else. I don't
line,
know
we
what
can
time we're
continue.
doing, But I can do Tuesday if we have to.
We'll also have the ADG open, so when you ask a question like, well, what was that for? We can just pull it right up for you.
and I would make, if I can, make the recommendation that when Ms. Pierre stand up there, when we get to the line item of talking about a specific department, please allow that department head to go ahead and be with her. Because
Yes.
again, I honestly feel sorry, because I feel bad, because I know she does not have the institutional knowledge
Right.
as far as with us to be put on the position and be some of the questions that are thrown out at her.
That much.
I understand.
It's not, it's not fair.
Not fair.
It's
I
not
agree.
fair. So to give her peace knowing that she has someone standing with her, that it can bounce off of each other, I think I would like to have that recommendation. And it just shows a form of solidarity when it comes down to department heads working and us being able to act them together. So
Yes, sir.
Tuesday?
Next Tuesday.
I'm fine with next Tuesday.
What about everybody else?
Sorry, I couldn't make it next Tuesday, but
What about?
you can still have it next Tuesday, I'll do it.
No, we've been having Zoom issues, so we want you to be able to.
Right. Can you be here next Tuesday, Commissioner Davis?
It's at 1 hour.
What day
Yeah,
can
so
you-
they
Have
can
a couple
start
of
Just 1 hour?
At 5 on next Tuesday?
5 on next Tuesday?
I guess I don't matter then, cause I said I couldn't make it 3 times.
We also-
So what about Wednesday? What about Wednesday?
I didn't say you didn't matter. Shh. 1 minute. I can do Wednesday. I will do what we have to do.
I'm
That's-
fine.
Wednesday? Can we do Wednesday?
Yeah. I can't be right. Did you say yes or no? Okay, Wednesday, Commissioner Boyle?
everybody else can.
I will be here.
Okay, I guess we can all do it Wednesday at 5.
Everyone, yes, ma'am.
Wednesday at 5 is what
Uh-huh.
we said. Okay.
Motion to adjourn.
But before you cut off the equipment, could we have a conversation about equipment?
Yes, sir.
As an emergency item, could you have a professional come in and do some training or something so that we won't look bad publicly as far as people can't hear us, we can't interact with the public. And I mean, we just spent some money
Yes, we
getting this
did.
stuff done, so
To
we're
upgrade.
not getting the bang for our buck. So whether it's a training issue, whether it's a equipment, let's get it done. And maybe just like before a football game, let's get some practice in, but run a practice before you go live. You got to do something.
All right, so in response, we are doing the practice before we start. Ms. Karen, we have any understanding of what occurred today?
I believe it was the new thing that we attached for the people on Zoom. Last week, last time that they had a meeting, the audience couldn't hear the people on Zoom. And I had it at full blast, so we attached that. I have not had a problem since I detached it. So
Okay,
I'm
so
just
that's
saying
what
that
caused the
because
problem
I
tonight,
think that
attaching
was-
that piece. But we've had the training performed, we've had the people that installed, and we had other experts come in and stay here for
Oh.
3 full days, so. But I will try again to bring those persons right back in one more
So,
time.
may I?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, I'm gonna just
'Cause we just
speak
heard-
frankly here. A lot of people have been in here.
Mhm.
So when we're hearing that testing is occurring prior to the meeting,
It is.
is it full end-to-end testing? Are you in your office dialed into Zoom to make sure you can hear somebody in here speaking on this? That's my question. Is that happening?
It happened today because Miss Kristen was in here and she was on Zoom and she left the building and then came back and said everything seemed
She
to
could
be
hear
fine.
you.
She could hear me.
Okay.
She could hear what was going on.
And you could hear her? Did she try to do
No,
it?
she didn't do it through that.
Okay,
but
so
she
the
just
point
came
I'm
back
trying to
in.
make is testing is relevant. When you say you're testing, if you can't test all scenarios and you need help with that, that's what we need to make sure we're doing. Because I hear you, before we were saying we're testing. It's not a complete test. Because sometimes the things that are not, you just aren't confirming everything. The other thing I want to ask and make sure is, are you comfortable with what should be happening technologically?
Fine it is. I mean, I don't know what happened. I mean, she can.
No, I'm not asking about today. This is a general statement. My next question is, when I go back and watch these meetings, the camera is not where it should be. In one of the last meetings I watched, a presentation stayed on the screen. The person was done talking about it. Someone else was talking from here, and we were just on that, just like that. But somebody's talking over here. None of the commissioners were talking, and the document on the screen was still there from the previous speaker. So I just want to say that we need to make sure that if we're going to use this technology, we're using it appropriately and effectively. I still get way too many calls. I hang up. We were all blowing up tonight on text messages. People are not watching the recordings. They're not listening. They can't participate because they don't know what's going on. So are you doing everything? You're operating the cameras, you're operating the timer, you're operating the presentation. Ms. Carter, opportunity.
I
Thank you.
just said, I may have to bring another person in just for this time.
I just want you to
And
hear.
that was a
Okay.
discussion a while ago. Yeah.
All right,
She's one person.
One person's
Yes.
too much. Any further discussions about technology? at this
No,
point?
if it's essential, because I had to call in
You're right.
twice and make her get up. Could you please go in? Because even with our chaplain, he kept saying, hello, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
We couldn't hear him, and we couldn't hear him, because I tried to wait.
It's essential because And being completely honest, we have not had a meeting where technology has not failed us in one way, shape, form, or another. And another recommendation or request that I have with the system, if we're doing a slideshow, it should be a slideshow and not a PDF.
Not a
of-
manual, yeah.
It's,
PDF.
that's one, it doesn't look good. Two, we've missed opportunities. I can remember vividly when the CRA director was giving, even Mr. Joe,
Right,
and he had on his tie that day.
yes.
And he was ready. And when it came down to the point of him doing his presentation, it
Right.
couldn't pull it up. He ensured that he sent it. And I'm not saying that he didn't, but that has happened in more ways than one. And it
Mhm.
doesn't only happen in the chambers, it's televised.
Yeah.
So people see the disconnect. And like, if I promise you, if you can hear the conversations that we're hearing from our constituents, we have to really take this serious, because we not only have citizens of Palatka that watch us, we have individuals that may be from Palatka that lives in other areas to stay connected and to stay relevant into what is going on in their town. Come in. I know someone watches faithfully every time we have a meeting from Washington. I have someone that watch a meeting from Boston. So our meetings are just not local people are trying to get on. You have even some, I can tell you at conferences, oh yeah, we watch your meetings, and they can tell you what's going on. So the technology standpoint, I don't know if we need to get with this county to see the services that they use. I know Pomona Park, their broadcasting system, every time somebody talk, the camera automatically shifts to whomever it is, their Zoom. Like there's options for us to partner with neighboring. I don't even know if Commissioner Borum with the technology, I know that may not be technically IT, but if you can help point us in the right direction. But that's how essential, especially if it ever gets to the point where we need to go back, and I'll never forget. More so recently, I had a department head tell me that they went back to watch our meeting to ensure that the conversation and dialogue. So even if it gets to a point to where a citizen or a department head need to go back and to confirm our technology is not where it needs to be to get us the answer. So it's critical. It's
And-
critical.
And if I can just go ahead and add, can we look at a solution for raising our hands technologically so
Well,
that,
and I've talked to the
so-
county
so
because.
I've
they
seen
have
it, I've already seen
yeah.
it, so that the facilitator can see on her board and she can call in and we don't have to,
Do the banging of the.
and it's just not conducive to professionalism.
And in fact, they were updating their system in the county and they were gonna give us their existing one.
Tell them we need it.
Huh?
We can buy our own.
buy it. They were just saying
We
they-
put in it was put in before some of the other people left before the two previous.
Still not here.
So, but again, we sent them the actual solution, and so we just need to get one that works.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
And I will now commit to doing my best to get this resolved, and we'll get it resolved.
Presentations as well, put in those Word documents and no values.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else? And I think we're done. We had a motion to adjourn.